We got Ben Saxon today.
What's going on?
What's going on, man? So how's college going?
College is good. College is good.
So now you're from New York. You grew up in New York, right?
Yes.
What part of New York?
Long Island.
And then how was that growing up there in Long Island?
It was fun. But listen, set aside all the cold and everything else. Long Island's a great place to grow up. You know, it's a good community. Great people that you can meet. I had a lot of good friends growing up. And it's definitely tight-knit. You know, you meet a lot of people, and you become close to those people over the years. And then once that, expands, you move otherwise. Like I came down here to Florida, and I love it.
When did you come down here to Florida?
I moved down here in August of 2021, and I've been here ever since.
2021. What do you think of the new, mayor or governor that's in there now?
Ron DeSantis?
No, in New York.
Oh, Eric Adams.
Eric Adams. What do you think? Because people initially had, good hopes for him.
Well, you know why everyone had good hopes for him?
No.
It's because he was, he plays the card that he was a cop. And that's why everyone thinks that, well, not everyone. I should take that back and say that he thought he was going to be a good mayor because he thought that the PBA of the NYPD was going to endorse him. But that wasn't the case. You know, he's definitely he's pro against gun violence. He's definitely pro cop in a way, but at the same time he shares the same views that de Blasio did, and that was no good.
Well, how can he be pro cop if he's still got that $900 thing you can steal and everything else to fund him? I mean, now they're trying to change that, but
they're trying to change it. But with his laws and philosophies, I really don't think that much is going to get done. They just put a new anti-gun squad on the street, and we'll see how that does. But because when de Blasio was in, they took out the anti-crime unit, right? And that's when crime in New York skyrocketed with all the riots and everything else, and they were having a lot of shootings, a lot of robberies. Those numbers went through the roof. Now, Eric Adams is in. He's trying to put that anti-gun squad out and see how they do. But hopefully it cleans up a little bit.
So now he's on, but he's still doing the mask thing. So if you're an athlete, you don't need to have the mask.
Well,
but if you're going to school, you still do.
Which I think is BS.
That's crazy.
It's crazy because guess what? You could be an athlete. You could be, in Miami as say on the Miami Marlins. You come to the Mets, right? Now you say you're not vaccinated. You don't have to get vaccinated. But someone who works in the business industry or as a police officer or a first responder, they have to be vaccinated. They were losing their jobs over not getting vaccinated, which is total ludicrous.
Right. So the only thing he changed was that the athletes could come in unvaccinated and play because the state was probably losing a lot of the teams were losing a lot of money because Kyrie Irving can play.
Correct.
And whoever else.
A lot of guys in the Mets were refusing to get vaccinated.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
He likes them. He's a big Mets fan.
Big Met guy.
Yeah. Hey, pull up that slide about New York because maybe you can relate to it. I saw it. I'm not 100% sure it's real, but it's absolutely crazy. Can you blow that up a little bit, Rob? Can you read that, Rob? Accurate. It says, at our regularly scheduled meeting of February 16, 2022, a motion was brought, second and passed, regarding domestic pets residing within the city of Auburn. You know where Auburn is?
No.
Okay. A concerned citizen addressed the city council in August 2021 and again in November 21. Her concern was that domestic animals with exposed genitals. Her concern was shared by many. It is an uncomfortable and difficult situation for a parent or grandparent or guardian to have to explain to the ward when they are questioned about a canine feline genitals. Whatever. So the whole thing is that this lady is basically saying, and do you know who Michael Quill is?
No. It's not the New York City mayor.
That's not,
No, it's some of that. Auburn's got to be upstate because if you see up there, it says upstate New York.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, it's got to be up. And then it says New England state. So that's got to be somewhere upstate New York, closer to the New England area.
Look, read the rest of that, Ben. The New England states have made it mandatory that our domestic animals wear pants to cover their genitals, protect them from the elements, and to deter unwanted mating.
Yeah, that's.
Do you think
that sounds really ludicrous to me?
I think it's legit.
You think
it was on
legit?
TMZ? I mean, I don't know. They usually don't. They're pretty legit. I mean even though they're gossipy.
Yeah.
I mean, TMZ is pretty legit.
Yeah. No, but reading that, it just goes to show that this is the year 2020. This is not what time used to be. That
Do you think that's legit? I mean, nowadays
Yes.
it's not like impossible to believe that it is.
I definitely think it's legit. And what else is there to say?
there's nothing. I don't even know
You
how to
can't
explain
even
something
explain
like
it.
that.
So Ben, you're still in college, right?
Correct.
You have to. Rob has to tell you this story about what his son encountered in school.
Mm-hmm.
And how old is your son? 8, 9,
He's 12.
12. The older. That's the older one, right? Like-
Younger one.
Probably should know this. but-
Younger one.
Yeah.
I won't go to schools or anything like that, but he had a teacher who came in one day and said, I just want to, Mr., let's just say Smith. We'll just use the name Smith. Called him Mr. Smith all year. And came in and says, I need you guys to call me Mix, like M-I-X, the word Mix, Smith. Don't understand this. Kids are confused. Mr. Smith, Mix Smith. Okay, so they call him Mix Smith because he doesn't want to be identified as either or in school.
But then he
Oh.
But you're yeah.
Yeah, he yelled at him because he said Mr. And so I sent an email that said, Dear Mr. Smith.
As you should.
So he's a guy, and his son said Mr. Smith like he had been for the earlier part of the year. And
course.
one day this guy wakes up and decides he doesn't want to be labeled either or,
Mm-hmm.
and now he's reprimanding a 12-year-old kid for saying Mr.
Well, that's what I say all the time is, the school system, since I've been young, I've noticed it, that you have no say in a school district. If a teacher wants to do something, it's their rules, nothing else applies. I've had problems in the school
This
district.
podcast is brought to you by Monster Energy. Tear into a can of the meanest energy drink on the planet, Monster Energy. It's the ideal combo of the right ingredients in the right proportion to deliver a big bad buzz that only Monster can. Monster packs a powerful punch, has a smooth, easy drinking flavor. Athletes, musicians, co-eds, road warriors, metalheads, geeks, hipsters, and bikers dig it. You will too. Monster Energy is more than just the green OG. Monster has Monster Ultra, Juice Monster, Monster Hydro, Rehab Monster, Dragon Tea, Monster Max, Muscle Monster, and many more. Buy on Amazon, buy on Walmart, or go to monsterenergy.com and believe me, you'll find a place. Unleash the beast. Monster
I've had
Energy.
great teachers, and I've had teachers that I despise because of their philosophies on things. They come out. You go to school to learn, right? That's the one agenda that school is there for, to learn things. But you have teachers who will push younger kids to learn their agenda of politics and this and that. And not all kids who are young, whether they're 12 or 18, not all of them know about politics. So, they think that you're in school to learn. So now you're brainwashing, say Democratic or Republican views, doesn't matter. They're going to soak that in like a sponge, and they're going to start to adapt to that and learn, okay, this is the right way because this is what school taught me. It should not be pushed. And then the whole thing, why are kids in kindergarten who should be learning the alphabet, learning about what gender they are, what gender to be, that should not be even a thing.
It's mind-blowing.
It's
It's
more than that.
mind-blowing.
It's more
And
than
it's
that.
probably just going to get worse.
Yeah.
So now you moved down here, and then when you moved down here, are you done with high school?
I was out of high school.
You're out.
Yeah, I was out of high school. I've been out of high school for 4 years now.
Okay.
So
Good for you.
yeah, 4 years. But
There were some geezers
back
in there.
home, we had COVID, and then the first year of college, I had to stay home due to a stomach issue I have.
Right.
So,
And now, when did you know that you had the stomach issue?
about junior year, going to senior year of high school, yeah.
And that's what the ulcer. How do you say it?
Ulcerative colitis.
Colitis, right?
Yeah, that
And
was tough.
And that's you have to watch what you eat like crazy.
No,
and-
the doctor says I'm not supposed to eat corn, stuff like that you can't digest, peanuts. I eat it. I'm fine. I never really had an issue with stuff that I ate that aggravated my stomach.
What really sets that off?
Mostly, I would say stress.
Really?
That's I would say stress was really where it came from. I think, but otherwise, it's I don't know. It's not really. It's an unpredictable thing that kind of emerges up slowly, and then it really hits you hard.
So now you get this your senior year of high school.
Yeah,
is
it was
when
my
you realize it.
Yeah, it was my senior year.
And that was when you were diagnosed with it.
Unfortunately, I was misdiagnosed twice. I had multiple hospital trips, which resulted in the problem getting worse, unfortunately.
So you went the first time to the hospital, and what did they tell you it
Well,
was?
they told me that it was a bacterial infection called C. diff. So they put me on prednisone. They put me on a bunch of different medications.
Did you blow up like a balloon from that?
It only made me worse.
Yeah.
You know, the prednisone made me lose weight because it stunts your hunger, it stunts a bunch of things, and I was just going to the bathroom like excessive amount of times a day, and it was just really painful, and it was brutal. It was brutal.
So then you go back and you say, "Hey, look, fuckhead, this isn't what I have. This is just making me worse."
Yeah.
And then what's the second diagnosis?
Well, I had to go to a different hospital.
Right.
So I went to a different hospital, and they said the same thing because you go for the stool sample comes back. They diagnosed the C. diff correctly. That was the first part of it, but they didn't find the colitis because I didn't go for a colonoscopy. I was never sent for a colonoscopy, so they thought it was just a bacterial infection. Like it'll get better through the prednisone, you'll stunt the inflammation, and then you'll come back and you'll be fine. But it just resulted in my problem getting worse because I was and I was taking ibuprofen to stunt the pain because the pain was crucial. And then come after my diagnosis, they said that ibuprofen is probably the worst thing you could have taken for it
because it just tears up your stomach.
Yeah,
right?
but you would have never knew. You're trying to take something to ease the pain, but you're making it worse.
Right. So now when you go in there, don't you think they should have done a colonoscopy and everything else
Well, at that
once
time,
at
I
your
didn't
age?
know. And then I went to a specialist, and the specialist, recommended me go for a colonoscopy and endoscopy, so they put me to sleep. And then that's when I got diagnosed. But right before I was diagnosed was at the height of it when I was in the hospital. I was admitted for a couple of days. I was on the morphine drip, and then I left. That was actually on Christmas. I was there Christmas Eve. I was there 2 days before Christmas Eve, and Christmas mornings when I left. It was the happiest day of my life to leave that hospital, let me tell you. But they would put me on a medication called Flagyl, and I was at work after the colonoscopy when I got admitted. It was New Year's Eve, and I was projectile vomiting from this medication.
Wow.
And I was throwing up so much that it got down to me throwing up bile. So I stopped taking the medication. I mean, they tried everything. I was at a low dosage of a medication called mescaline. I was on prednisone. They wanted me to take the depositories. They wanted me to up the dosage of the mescaline. Nothing worked. The mescaline worked for a little bit, but then again, it got worse. So that's when I went for another test, and they put me on a medication called Humira, and I've been on that for about 2 years, and ever since then I've been good.
Now, when you say pain, what do you mean pain? What's like the worst pain? Is it cramps or?
So it's like I explained to everyone, if you took a knife and shoved it in my abdominal area and twisted it around, that's what that feels like. It's an excruciating pain where you just want to crawl up in a ball and say, I don't want to move. And the problem is like people don't understand this, and it's a very difficult way to explain it because you don't understand my perspective of it. That when you're out in public, say I'm driving, and I've had plenty of these incidents before. I'd be driving, and all of a sudden you get like if someone punched you in the gut after eating a full meal, right? What do you got to do? You got to go to the bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd had many encounters where I'm driving, I got to pull over and try to find a bathroom, whether it's late at night, early in the morning, mid-afternoon, it doesn't matter. And I've had multiple altercations with people because they wouldn't let me use the bathroom. And I'm like, listen, if I don't use the bathroom, my pants are going to be in the bathroom. Please, And there would be times where it's like you can't control your anger because of how bad the issue was. And I've had a couple of fights with people because they wouldn't let me use the bathroom.
Sure. Now, at your age, senior in high school, you're supposed to be going on spring break, you're playing baseball.
Yeah.
Now, how do you mentally and emotionally handle that?
Me, I'm a very competitive person, so I played through a lot of pain, and I didn't let it bother me. I mean, I would say that problem was it was eating away at me. I was losing close to 40, 50 pounds.
Wow.
And, I was skinny as a pole, and it was definitely mentally exhausting, but I kind of made the best of it, and I was strong enough to keep pushing. And, I look at it all the time like it's life. If you have a hardship or a downfall, you got to build up stronger. So I did everything I could. I was, working out. I was eating what I was supposed to be eating. I was doing everything I could. And it was definitely difficult, but I managed to get what I had to get done.
Especially when you're going to doctors and they're misdiagnosing you, giving you the wrong medication.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's not like this, I just call it colitis, but it's not like this is something new. This has
No.
been around a long time.
It's been around a long time, and I think they were trying to avoid the Humira because of how young I was. Because it really puts a hard impact on your immune system.
Yeah.
I have the immune system probably of a 75-year-old.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, I'm okay, I'm good, and that's all that matters to me.
Well, drink some cabbage juice so you're not fucking, so it's not 125 fucking years old before you know it.
Yeah.
No, that really will work.
Yeah.
Did you look that up?
Yeah. I
No,
saw
you
that.
didn't.
I'm
Fucking lying,
gonna
motherfucker.
try
You didn't look that shit up.
Yeah,
You didn't look it
try
up for 2 seconds.
I looked it up when I.
Your nose, you're going to be Pinocchio in about 2 minutes. You didn't look it up. It's all right. But it worked, though. It will.
Yeah.
Then you go to college. And now by the time you get to college, is this corrected?
Well, my first year of college, it wasn't. That's when I had another flare up, and that's when I was in the hospital. And I'm going to tell you the problem that I had with my first year of college. So halfway through college, it was great. I stayed at home just to make sure.
Excuse me to interrupt you, but are you playing baseball the first year of college
No.
too? No, not yet.
So this is, I was going to use it as a redshirt year.
Okay.
To get healthy, train, get my weight back up to where I'm supposed to be, so I can go to a good school where I wanted to go. So I was at a community college. I was taking, I took a couple of criminal law classes, and I enjoyed going to school because this wasn't high school. I'm what I like, I'm learning. So it's, I'm learning the law of New York State. I'm learning police, requirements and all that. I'm learning a bunch of stuff, and I'm enjoying it. So about 3/4 of the year go by in the school semester, and I start getting sick again, and I had to go to the hospital. So I was in a hospital for a couple days, but it was finals week. So I had emailed my professors and said, hey, listen, you think you could email me the finals so I could do them? I'm in the hospital. Nope.
No?
Nope. No exceptions. So, yeah, I failed 4 classes, and that followed me for a long time. So I just got those corrected. It was almost to the point where I had to hire an attorney because it was so bad that it was those F's on my transcript follow me. And I'm not a dummy. I could say probably I'm not a dummy. I enjoy putting pride into my work. But unfortunately, that followed me. I mean, my GPA, you have to have certain requirements to meet the NCAA or the NJCAA, whatever baseball you're playing in college, you have to meet those requirements. And I was not meeting those requirements because of that first semester in school. And since that problem's been fixed, I've had great grades. I've been doing good.
So if you're on your deathbed and you can't make it to class, they'll fail you?
Failed.
That's fucking crazy,
Yeah,
dude.
well,
it's not like you were like drunk and making up some excuse. You were in the hospital.
Well, that's right. And what the problem is if you don't,
What the fuck?
well, they expect you to withdraw from the class. So you have a withdrawal date, which is, say, a quarter of the semester.
And then if you withdraw, then what happens?
You get a W. You don't get the F, you get a W. So it's not affecting your GPA. But you're still paying for the class.
So why don't you just withdraw?
Because you have a withdrawal date. You have to withdraw before that specific date.
Oh, there's like a deadline.
Yeah, there's a deadline to withdraw.
God, but they should have looked and said, man, the guy's in the hospital with,
I know. Well,
Sure,
I went up to the academic dean, and, there was some arguments, but I got some of them. I got 1 or 2 classes that actually helped me out, and then the one professor, he was gone for the summer. He didn't want to help me out. He didn't care, so.
Plus, in their defense in a way, then if they do help you out, then they got to deal with the other people that don't want to help you out, and they have to go back to that job.
Exactly.
But
yeah.
what are you going to do? You got through it.
Exactly.
So now, for someone else who has that type of problem or anything like that, just trying to get to where you are now and further, how would you, what advice would you give them to get through it? Because you're strong, you have a good family, which we'll get to, and a good background, but not everybody has the type of old school upbringing that like you had, I had, Rob had. So imagine if you didn't have the upbringing that you had. Whew.
So the way I put it in perspective is if I went back into my shoes right now, when I had this problem emerging, knowing what I know now, you definitely have to. You can't mess around. You gotta seek the best doctor you can possibly seek when it comes to like an issue. Well, it was my first real encounter with the hospital. I've had stitches, a broken finger, but nothing major like as the problem I have now. So going back to my problem is if I were in the shoes I'm in now, I would have definitely, been more assertive towards asking them, hey, listen, just to be safe, can we, go about producing these tests, just to make sure, because, I've had a problem in the past, da-da-da. But at that time, I didn't know. I was still a young kid. I was only 17.
Yeah, you're 17 years old. You're not thinking, maybe I should go home and look up what this could be.
Well, exactly.
You know what I mean?
I saw a bunch of different things. I'm sitting there on my phone, like looking, what is this? What is this? What is this? But then you self-diagnose yourself in 20 different ways that Google shows you.
Yeah.
You don't know what the hell's going on.
You become a hypochondriac.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I think the best thing, whenever you have a problem, you go to the PCP, but then don't listen to a fucking thing he says.
Yeah.
See what he says, go home, fuck the referral, look it up yourself, figure out, whatever it is, find the best doctor that there is, and go to that.
But here's the thing is,
because otherwise you're just going to go to 10 other ones that are going to tell you bullshit.
Even the most, I waited too long, I think, to go to the doctor, because I thought it would naturally resolve itself, because I didn't know what it was. Now, knowing what I know now, any little thing that I ever have wrong, I'd be proactive and go to the doctors immediately, because you don't know.
Yeah.
The
one thing I'll say about my dad, and he and I don't get along very well, but he's probably the only Italian guy I know that goes to the doctor. He goes all the time.
Yeah.
And he's 83. I mean, he's fucked up now, but he's 83, still working.
Yeah, that's
every day he goes. But whenever he would feel bad, he would just go to the doctor to make sure, blood test. He's also a hypochondriac, I guess, that he tries to hide. But he would go all the time. That way, whenever something hit him, he could catch it quick.
Well, exactly. I mean? But that's smart.
So if you're younger and you're in high school and you got a problem,
go and don't look
Don't
back.
wait and don't think it's just like a finger that needs a stitch, because you never know. Right?
Exactly.
And you were able to beat it or get this far. You didn't beat it, but you were able to.
I'm grateful.
Getting through it.
Yes,
right?
I'm grateful to be where I am today.
Now talk a little bit about your family, because I always tell you when we talk, you have one hell of a fucking head on your shoulders.
I appreciate
especially for what you got around you, this generation, which we always talk about too.
Yeah, this generation is.
So your mom and dad, what did they do?
So my father has been part of the Nassau County Police Department going on 30 years. And my mother, she handles insurance claims for a private company called Gallagher Bassett Services. And they both work. And they're very hardworking people. And I definitely have both. Off of both of them, it rubbed off on me to learn, hard work pays with reward. So that's definitely where I got my hard work ethic from.
And it also, from what you've told me, they don't just hand you shit. You got to work for it.
Yeah.
Regardless of what they have or what they don't have, you have to work for the things you get.
Yes. There's definitely, they've definitely helped me out over the past. They've given me a lot of stuff where, I can help myself. But that's why I'm so grateful. They've gone out of their way to invest money and time into what I love the most, and it's definitely helped me over time, be where I am today.
But I've noticed that they do, but they don't spoil you.
Yeah.
They give you just enough.
Correct.
But not too much.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Correct.
Did your dad say anything really? You ever hear any stories from your dad from 30 years in Nassau County?
Oh, I've heard a lot of stories.
Anything good that you could regurgitate?
Probably
that
not.
won't get him in trouble? Nah.
Probably not.
We'll wait till later.
Yeah.
I'm sure you heard some crazy
Wait till
shit.
retirement,
30 years. How much long? Now, did they fuck with his pay?
No. No. Because he's in Nassau. Nassau County is east of New York City, just east of Queens. So when he was working in a town called Westbury, it borders Queens. So, there was times where, say, a motor vehicle accident or something small like that, or even something big, you'd come into contact with the NYPD, because it's on the border. So right now he's in police headquarters, and he works for a specialized unit called MAO, which is the Medical Administration Office. So he administers drug tests and stuff like that to the police officers. And, he's good where he's at. He likes what he's doing. He gets good hours, and he plans on retiring by the end of this year.
Does he?
Yeah.
He's had enough of all this crazy shit?
Yeah. He wants to move down here,
So now you're in college, you're playing baseball, you kind of have, the situation under control. Now when you're playing, does it ever pop up where you have that knife in your stomach feeling?
No.
Thank
God.
When it does it paralyze you where you can't move, or you can fight through it if you want to?
I fight through it. Listen, there's times where I've had that problem. I've gone to baseball and pitched an entire game. I've had many of those. Listen, senior year, it was freezing cold. It was probably March or April, one of those cold days, and I had a game against, we played a town called Hills East. Pitched 6 of the 7 innings, did great. I came off the mound. I told my parents, I got to go to the hospital. It's time. I couldn't do it anymore. I was sitting there like, I'm like bending over, like pushing my hand into my stomach because the pain was just excruciating. And I went to the hospital right after the game.
Well, you know what they say: what doesn't defeat you will make you stronger. Or
stronger.
what doesn't beat you will make you stronger.
That's right.
So then, where does this criminal law come into? Because that's what you're taking in college in case the baseball doesn't work out.
So, hearing like all the stories or whatever my father does, it interests me. And growing up, that's something besides baseball and besides weightlifting that seeks my interest, and I love reading about it. I read a book actually not too long ago that I really enjoyed. I watched his documentary. The guy I was telling you about, Ralph Friedman, great book. But just learning about the way that police operations are handled and the law and all that stuff, it just seeks my interest. So I said, that's what I want to do. And I'm a people person. I love being around people all day long, and I love helping people. It's something that's I'm grateful for being able to have, is that trait. So that's what I wanted to do. I definitely wanted to follow my father's footsteps and seek a career in law enforcement and do the best I can with that.
Why don't you be a lawyer? So me and Rob have lawyers. I think you'd be a good lawyer because you're very analytic.
Everyone tells me that.
But you're gonna have to argue a lot, which I don't think you'd have a problem with arguing.
I'm good at that. Believe me when I tell you, I'm good at.
And you don't have to worry about getting shot if you go up to.
See, I don't care about that.
You don't care about that until you get shot.
Yeah.
And then you're gonna care about that.
Yeah.
And then your attitude is gonna be different when you're walking up.
But
to
you know
the car.
what? You know what I say all the time is, when people tell me that, I say I don't care about that. But you know why you don't care about that is because when you take that oath to protect and serve the community, as a police officer, you run towards the fight, not away from it.
Well, if you have that attitude and that's what you believe, then a police officer would be good for you. Because if you know what you're getting into, then okay. Yeah, I still want you to be a lawyer so we can hire you. Maybe even like a fucking lawsuit.
I know. I see. But that's the thing. Is like I'd have to go to more school.
Yeah, because lawyer. How many years is lawyer? Six? Seven? You have to be a fucking lawyer.
Yeah, you got to go to law school. Well, you got to. It's a big process because you got to go. You got to get your bachelor's, and you have to get your bachelor's and master's. Bachelor's and you got to.
And then the bar. Yeah. Then you got to pass the bar.
Well, there's a bunch of tests before the bar. I'm pretty sure too.
Yeah, it's a lot of shit.
It's a lot of schooling.
But if you're good though, it's fucking.
If it's good, if you're good for it,
Yeah.
Did your dad have to go to 9/11 when 9/11 happened, or no?
He was called on. He wasn't in Lower Manhattan where it happened, but he was on call there. Yeah, somewhere. I don't know exactly where.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on 9/11?
9/11? It was a terrorist attack. It was bad.
Yeah. I mean, you don't think there was any government involved in it at all? No,
definitely.
But they just used the situation to go in to get Saddam.
Bin Laden.
No.
Oh,
9/11. 9/11. Yeah, because remember Bush Sr. wanted to get Saddam.
And they declared war. That was their reasoning to declare war on the Middle East. But 9/11 and being in Florida is not everyone understand. Like if you're not from New York, you really don't understand how. I mean, some people do, but when you're from New York and you know people from your town, relatives that were in 9/11, whether it's law enforcement, fire department, EMS, first responders, or people who were there that witnessed it, people don't really understand the severity of how bad it really was.
And you were there, right?
Well, I was only one.
You were only one, but your dad could tell you everything.
Yeah, my parents came. My parents, my grandparents, they were.
Wow, you're only one.
Yeah, I was
a
year old.
I was driving cars for auto auction when you were.
It was 5 days after my first birthday.
Wow.
Yeah.
Where were you when 9/11 happened?
I was in second period history class, 10th grade.
Were you?
And the teacher came in. He's a real history buff. He's like, "We got to put on the TV." Plane just hit the World Trade Center. He goes, "This is history, guys. This is history. Your kids are going to read about." And he was right.
Yeah, I was driving I was still in high school. I was driving part-time for Manheim Auto Auction in Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
So we'd have a lot, and you would drive the cars up for Exotic Day.
Yeah.
At nighttime, you would drive maybe like 30 miles to Manheim and then drive the car to park it for the lane the next day.
Yeah.
And on 9/11, I was listening to Howard Stern like I always did at that time.
Uh-huh.
And it was like, boom. Everything stopped. Robin came on. No commercials, and they were like, "There's 1, 2. We got word the Pentagon, and then the other one, and all 4." And it was like,
but see,
man.
over time that I've been in, school and whatever, you learn about it. But then when you hear people who have been there, I've met a lot of people who were first responders in 9/11, and It's nuts. It was terrible.
And
You know?
none of them think there was any, not conspiracy-wise.
Not
none of 'em-
conspiracy theories, but it was really more of like Taliban needs to pay for this kind of thing. That's really where it was like stood towards. I've heard, you hear everyone with conspiracy theories that says, oh yeah, maybe Bush did it to do this, do that, but me personally, I just think it was a terrorist attack.
Yeah.
But it's just terrible that something like that had to happen. But it's, I went to a pro-police rally in October of 2020, and the president of the PBA of New York City Police Department, his name is Patty Lynch, and he gave a whole speech about 9/11 and said that he was on his way to work one day when this happened, and Suffolk County is the furthest east county on Long Island, and then it's Nassau, and then it goes to the city, which is Queens. And he said he was driving to work that day to go to Lower Manhattan, and there was a Suffolk County car in Queens, and then he saw a Nassau County car in Queens, and he goes, at first he thought they were lost, but he goes, no, they weren't lost. They were there to do what they had to do, and that's like the way he worded everything, because he's a very, very good speaker. If you listen to him, you can hear him speak. He's very assertive. He's very pro-cop. He's very pro-Trump, all that stuff. The way that he spoke, it made you got the goosebumps from it, because you hear about the problem. Like, there was guys who saw people jumping out of buildings. When you were if you were there, people were jumping out of buildings. Dead bodies. It's a lot. That's a lot. So. You learn about it, you hear stories, and it's definitely a heartbreaking situation.
I remember when I had gotten back and they were going to clips. I mean, because it was live,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So they weren't ready. When they would go to different cameras,
Mhm.
I mean, you could see the guy like literally jumping off, and then they would quick, go to camera 7 or 8, and that guy's jumping off. I mean, I'm not joking. I mean, that guy was not that guy.
Or the guys who ran in there to their death. That's like there's videos of there's like videos that are coming out recently. Yeah, I've seen some videos on TikTok of like firemen running the buildings, and you hear like the alarms going off, and they're running up the escalator to try to get up to the 100th floor. There's guys who ran up God only knows how many steps of stairs, and to try to save people. I mean, those people ran to their death. It's crazy.
What I couldn't understand though is how it blew up.
How it
because
came
it
down.
blew up from the bottom.
Well,
When you watch it go down, if it would hit from the top,
yeah.
why would it come down from the bottom like
Well,
that?
they say that the way that
And I'm not being some fucking crazy
yeah, of course.
conspiracy,
They said that the way the building was designed, that it was caused to because it was so tall. Those buildings were the tallest buildings in Manhattan.
Right.
So the way that they were designed, it was supposed to go with the wind, and the staircases were the stronghold of the building. So they said that the rest of the building was pretty weak. So that's why the building couldn't withdraw like the explosion from the plane itself, so it collapsed.
So basically, those buildings were built kind of to fall like that, no matter where they got hit,
Correct.
even if it would look from the bottom, so that because it's in a tight area, right? So if it
Lower
falls this
Manhattan
way,
is
it's gonna smash it.
I mean, other buildings got pretty damaged. I mean, it looks like a war zone down there. If you see pictures,
But I mean, had they not, if that's true, and they built it like that, had it been built differently, and the plane goes in, and hits it this way, and then falls over that way, then it's gonna hit.
I mean, they were tall rectangles, so they were built to implode inwards.
Yeah.
So they collapsed inwards, both buildings.
That makes sense, right, Rob?
Yeah.
The stronghold of those buildings was the elevator and the stairwells. Those were the strongholds of those buildings. So it's like they were such tall buildings that they were, like I said, they were taught to sway with the wind. A lot of architecture in New York City is like that.
Now, all these people with the conspiracy about the way it popped, you never hear maybe it was built to fall like that ever.
What, that was meant to fall as in implode?
Yeah,
like
because a lot of when that first happened, and even a decade after it happened, when they started coming with a lot of hypotheses, right? A lot of it nobody could figure out why the way it went down from the bottom.
Yeah,
because it looked like that would mean that there's a bomb at the bottom in the parking garage that would blow it up. But never once did somebody come with a theory that you just came with, whether that's accurate or not. That would make sense if it is accurate. Why it dropped the way it did.
Well, that's why they say it dropped like that. I mean, there was a couple. I mean, was it 93, 99 that there was 2 attempts?
Yeah.
There was 2 attempts. There was car bomb in the parking garage, and there was one other, I think.
Yeah, two definitely.
So
was
maybe
one explosion.
Maybe
I think
maybe
one was
that
the
weakened it
explosion.
then, and they didn't really
yeah.
fix it enough. Or,
Now, do you think they had the intel and they weren't a part of it, but they had the intel and kind of looked the other way so that if it did happen, then they would have a reason to
I don't
go
know if
into.
they would have the intel, honestly.
No?
Because think about
You
it.
would-
Think
wow.
about the technology increase from
Who was in there then?
2001 to prior years, because there was no airport security. The cabins on the planes didn't lock. Prior to 9/11, there was really not much security at all. I mean, listen. This is from me reading.
Yeah.
I didn't live through that. I can't say it for sure.
there wasn't. Yeah.
But from what I've read and heard over the years, that okay, after post 9/11, now you got locked cabins, so you can't get in the cabin of the pilot.
Oh yeah.
You have all the. I mean, look at all the X-rays you have when you go through TSA and all the different bagging checks. I mean, I get stopped all the time. When traveling with baseball cleats with metal spikes on them,
Yeah. Right.
or the weighted little the rubber baseballs that fill with sand. So they got to sit there, and then the worst is when you go through TSA and you have like the pre-workout, the creatine stickers, they're testing it for drugs and making sure there's no drugs.
they do all that when you go through.
Everything.
Fuck.
Everything. And then one time I forgot I had $300 cologne at Digo Sauvage. Full bottle, 6.8 milliliters, whatever it is, the biggest one you could buy. I forgot to put it in my luggage because I was running late. I put it on my carry-on. They took it.
They took
I was
it.
like, that guy's going home and
Yeah,
he's going to give
smell
that
it.
to his son. He's going to smell that and he's going to go home and give it to his son. Or he's going to steal it for himself. And I'm sitting here, I'm pissed off. I'm like, dude, you can't spare me one little, mishap. He's like, nope, no, it's garbage. I'm like, okay.
You
Whatever.
know that 9/11 was the beginning of the the ticker that runs on the bottom of any TV now when you're watching news. Whatever's going across, like
Kind of like the
Oh,
scores, like
that-
on ESPN,
yeah,
right?
well, that keeps moving. I'll tell you.
Yeah.
9/11 was the that's when it started because they need
Really?
to keep getting information out there. They they're talking, but they want to show it too. So I don't know who did it, but they started that scroll on the bottom, and since then, when you watch just regular news, you got scrolling like severe weather alert, and it comes across the bottom. You're reading what's going on while they're still doing the news.
Yeah, and now it's across the whole time, like
Yeah.
ESPN.
Yeah.
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 So that was the beginning of that.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, you would think after that you would take a stronghold on the border, and then you got this guy opening up. What is it, Title 42 or whatever? Almost 500,000 people a day, 200,000 to 500,000.
You know
people
what?
A day. I don't know.
I
what
say,
they do.
personally.
And
you
Rourke
listen-
just cleaned that the fuck up. How do you think
Yeah.
he feels?
I know. Well, you listen.
It's going all back.
You listen to Biden speak. You watch what he does. The guy is not capable. He has no mindset to run a country. Number one. So I think other people are telling him what to do. They're just using him as a muppet to say whatever he has to say on TV, and that's that. But how much of a hypocrite can you be? You want to talk about COVID. You want to talk about how you want to ban ghost guns now. You see what he said yesterday, how he wants to ban a ghost. How are you going to ban a ghost gun? I want to know that.
Because see,
I
look,
want to ask him that.
I think
Ghost guns have no serial guns. They're made from scratch.
I know. I'm dead set that Stone was right. I think Hillary or he says Obama. Obama's calling the shots, telling him what to do with Hillary to make him look as bad as fucking possible. Raise the gas, do this, do everything he can fuck up. They're telling him to fuck up.
Yeah.
Then when it comes for election time, then either Hillary runs or Michelle runs.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, and I believe we need Trump now more than anybody.
Of course.
And if you look around on some comments, even people that fucking hate Trump are saying, look, I'll take the Twitter fingers over this fucking guy any day.
Of course.
But if that's what they do, and that's what this is, to make him look as bad as possible, which they're doing a really good job
Yeah.
if they're telling him what to do, and
yeah.
it definitely seems like they are.
Yeah.
If Michelle Obama or Hillary runs, Trump might as well just forget about it. He can't beat. I don't think they're too powerful. Not that he can't beat them legitimately.
Legitimately, you're saying
But they're too powerful.
Corrupt.
Right.
Yeah.
And then Stone says the smallpox vax were upped. And now if that happens to be true, because I do believe him now. I was iffy on the whole fucking Obama calling the shot thing.
Yeah.
Now, because when he explains it in full, he's saying that Obama and Hillary are calling the shots, all dumb shots,
Yeah.
to make him look like an ass.
Yep.
Which he would probably do anyway because he's not all there.
Of
You know, and who knows who he is off.
It's almost like put it this way. It's almost like you feel bad for the guy. He can barely even speak.
I felt bad for him until I watched that Judge Judy thing on Hunter Biden.
Yeah.
And boy, what
Listen,
fucking terrible.
In reality,
father.
I don't feel bad for my despiser, man, but still,
I don't feel bad for him anymore. I actually kind of feel bad for Hunter for having such a shitty ass fucking dad that led him down that road of that he's no good and he's got a fucking sister that you never hear about and everything else.
But here's the thing, and this is what I say all the time. Biden is such a hypocrite, okay, in the ways that he wants to take on COVID, the masks, the vaccines, this, that, right? Now, like he said yesterday with the ghost guns, he wants to ban ghost guns. But now, like you said prior, that he wants to open the borders. He wants it to be, you want to come here? Believe me, come on in. It's, we'll give you health care. We'll give you this. We'll give you that. How many of those people, listen, nothing against Mexico, right? Mexico is the murder capital of the entire world. So you're going to tell me they don't have guns? You're going to tell me they don't have bad people? Right now, not all of them are bad. But you're going to tell me that maybe a quarter or 50% of the people that are crossing the border aren't coming here to commit crimes, join gangs, get locked up, go to prison, run a prison gang to create a criminal enterprise?
This is why I believe now what Stone was saying. Because do you think he really even knows what a shadow gun is? Really? The man's 80 years old.
He doesn't know what a ghost
he's
gun
on
is. He said he wants to ban ghost guns. Ghost guns have no serial numbers. Bro. They're made from a 3D printer or they're made off the street. They listen, I watched the whole thing in Thailand, how they can make, a 9mm, 40 cal, 45 cal, and they have different ways that they ship them to Mexico. And then Mexico, the drug runners and whoever else is running the gun runners, they run them across the border and they distribute them to big enterprises like gangs.
This podcast is brought to you by Liquid IV. This is a product I always use after I run, work out, and do the sauna. It's a great way to hydrate the body and feeling your best self. All you do is 1 stick of Liquid IV and 16 ounces of water. It hydrates the body faster and more efficient than water alone. 3 times the electrolytes as other sports drinks and contains 5 essential vitamins, B5, B12, B3, B6, and vitamin C. It also tastes great. Flavors like watermelon, lemon lime, strawberry, and many more. Buy in bulk at Costco or go to liquidiv.com and use the code MSCS Media, no space, for 15% off. No other way to hydrate the body.
Distributed them to local drug dealers. But that's how ghost guns come to the United States. You want to prevent that? Prevent the border prevent the people from coming. But it's one thing that leads to the next. And he doesn't understand that. He just thinks that, okay, we're just going to ban ghost guns. Good luck, Biden. Good luck.
Once again, in my opinion, look at the man's house. $16 million paid off. Yeah. Kid's got $6 million. He's got another $10 or $12 million in the bank. And it's impossible to make that kind of money.
But from
like
where?
That.
He's been in politics for how long?
From
45 years?
From where? Because he gets on that thing every morning, like Stone said, and he's told what to do.
Exactly.
Like I said, if he doesn't know what day it is and can't read a teleprompter, and I'm not, he's an old man. What if he's a dick or not? He's old.
He's old. Either way, that doesn't change the fact he's old.
No, there's a lot of old people that can't read it either. His age,
Yeah.
So he's being told what the fuck to say, so that one of those two can run. And if they do, and if they feel they have a strong chance and they can do mail-in ballots again, they're going to win.
Oh, of course. Well, they're going to find some way to say that you can't go in public again. But, now I saw this thing about electric cars, right? Now, we've been talking about censorship and all this other stuff with censorship, right? And they said, well, if the government is running electric cars, now this is a theory, but it's not, you don't know if it's true or not. Well, they could say, okay, you posted this on Twitter. We're shutting your battery off. Now you can't drive. So now you're stuck. What are you going to do? They're going to get rid of gas-powered vehicles? They can control your car. Like, they can control your phone. They can control your laptop. Anyone can get in touch with electric.
Well, that's what this is all about.
So
control.
It's about censorship.
It's another step to control.
Well, exactly.
Why do you think your boy Elon bought all that fucking... How much stock did he buy in Twitter? Can you Google that? How much he bought? Did you know that?
No.
He bought a fucking pile. And Twitter's like banning people left and right. I don't understand the whole Twitter.
Well, I'm still on Trump's waiting list to get on the Truth Social, his new social media platform.
I heard he was coming out with something.
I'm like 170. I'm 197,000th on the list.
What? It's a list to
join it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm still on a waiting list.
What is it supposed to be like?
Looks like it's like a Twitter, but like Trump runs it, so you don't talk about.
Problem is, it's all right. You need something that's
a little controversy.
There's one guy that they came out with something. What's this say here, Rob?
It says Elon Musk purchases nearly 10% of Twitter, making him the largest shareholder. Elon Musk recently purchased 9.2% of Twitter stock, about 73.5 million shares, according to a filing Monday. That makes him the largest shareholder in the company.
Why would he do that?
Yeah, it doesn't make
he
sense.
said he was going to start his own, right? And he.
But here's the thing: is he never makes sense. You can't keep up with him because
See if you can find like why did Elon Musk
Yeah.
buy 10% of Twitter?
because he supposedly likes Trump.
Yeah,
So that's to go against. I don't know.
yeah, but how if he's?
But he's
still-
in it for the money, I guess, in some way, some form. He
but
knows
remember,
something.
he is building his own Twitter. So if he buys 10% of Twitter and he's the largest holder, that would put him on the board.
Oh, I mean, listen, he might be trying to pull a Jeff Bezos and take over like a monopoly. I mean, Jeff Bezos' business is, you could really compare it and contrast it to the monopolies of the 20s.
Well, think
I mean, right?
if Elon's on the board of Twitter,
Yeah.
right, then he has a vote. If he
Correct.
comes out with Starlink fucking
Whatever.
platform,
Yeah, whatever
right,
it is. Yeah.
he's on the board of Twitter. So he's able to make decisions based on Twitter while he has this other one.
Correct.
So if you look at it as a business aspect, you can't call it a monopoly because he invested legit
That's true.
money in
Yeah,
Twitter,
that is true.
and then he opened up a competition. So if anything, he made it a competition. He's only got 10%. What's it say?
It says Musk could see Twitter as an investment with big growth ahead, or he could have a non-investment reasons for the purchase, such as buying to make sure the platform doesn't restrain.
Oh,
speech.
see, that seems
That seems more likely,
yeah.
right?
So they don't censor us.
You know what he probably did? I mean, who knows? But it's possible. We'll find out probably in 6 months. How long do you think that would take to take effect where he would his say would have say or that we would notice the say?
Well, I think people will now buy more Twitter stock because he invested in it. It could be quicker than normal, right?
I mean, people love
As if
this
they
guy. I
pull
mean,
up the
they do
polls.
anything he does because they think they're gonna make money on it. But
I
like
mean,
the whole thing with Doge. I mean, he went on Saturday Night Live and said it was shit,
yeah.
and then it crashed.
I think a lot of times, I think he's sporadic, and then
Yeah,
he's
he's
like,
very sporadic.
and he's like, fuck it. But he does more for this country than anybody I know,
Yeah.
in my opinion. But so, you know what you know what, Ben? Maybe he realized the nightmare it is to build a social media like platform like
Guy has all the
Facebook.
money in the world. He's like, well, let me just buy Twitter.
Yeah, because he probably looked at it and he's like, I'm building fucking rockets to go to Mars. I've got the thing with the Beto guy you got to watch that can travel at the speed of light. I'm making my own molecule like Lazar did. He's
Yeah.
making his own molecule that will be able to make a spaceship that can absorb the matter going at the speed of light.
Yeah.
It's like we were talking.
Yeah,
If a stone would hit that ship going at the speed of light, it blows into pieces.
Yeah.
So because they basically shut down kind of the Space Force with him in,
Mm-hmm.
he said, fuck it. And he's literally himself making a molecule that's going to go on the molecule chart. And this molecule, once done with probably a team of 20 other monsters,
Yeah.
will be able to withstand going at the speed of light and being hit by matter.
Okay, I gotcha.
And when we had Beto in, the problem wasn't getting to Mars. The problem wasn't building Mars and putting life on Mars. The
Yeah.
problem was getting to Mars and not getting blown the
Blown
fuck up
up,
in
yeah.
7 days. Right, Rob?
Yeah.
There was no issue about getting there.
Yeah.
What do you have up here? Oh, this is the Times here.
It just says that.
Anything good?
Well, it says Musk's relationship with Twitter is long and complicated, involving most notably his legal wranglings with the SEC over his tweets and Tesla's finances. Will Musk now agitate for Twitter to alter its policy on moderating content in the name of free speech? What is Elon Musk doing now? Will he push for Twitter to open up its algorithm, which the company's co-founder and former CEO Jack Dorsey appeared to support last week? Musk and Dorsey are friendly.
Yeah.
So
You know what? Everybody talked that shit about Dempsey, including myself, but I must retract. Not that I'm a New York Times writer, but
Yeah.
but what he wanted to do was he wanted to take Twitter the way it is now,
Mm-hmm.
and then he wanted to have another Twitter called Twitter, but like Twitter Uncensored or Twitter.net, let's just say,
Yeah.
right? And that one would be censored like violence and stuff
But
like
it's
that.
the problem, and this is the problem I see all the time.
But Ben, what happened was he was going to do it. So he was going to have both to keep the board happy.
Okay.
Here's the one you can censor the hell out of and kick everybody off. And then here's the other one that is more loose. And unless it's like endangering somebody or something crazy sexual, it's free speech.
So
Well, the board
that's
didn't
how
like
everything
it.
should be.
The board didn't like it.
Mm-hmm.
So they basically pushed him out is
Yeah,
what they did.
Of course.
So then he's going into board meetings as the majority, but they don't want him there. He can feel it, and he just said, fuck it.
Mm-hmm.
So I was talking all that shit, but I didn't know that he was trying to have two, which would be the ideal thing to do in that situation.
Yep. But listen, that's the problem I seek with social media. That's the problem I seek with cell phones is you're letting other people censor what you have to say. Right?
Well, you don't have a choice.
But no matter what it is.
Yeah.
You're not, unless you're physically restraining me and putting duct tape over my mouth, I could say whatever I want to say. That's the First Amendment we have, grateful.
Which
the Constitution. But it's not.
It's getting yanked by the second. Yeah.
The Second Amendment's getting taken away from us. I mean, it's getting scary to the point where it's like almost tyranny.
But
and
you
that's
know
the
what?
scary part.
He could be getting in cahoots with Dempsey.
Yeah.
And then they both come out with. Then you got Dempsey with the experience from it. You got Elon who probably can pick that experience up in about an hour with his IQ.
Yep.
What's your opinion, Rob?
I honestly don't know. I was shocked by seeing it.
Do you think he's doing it to?
But it did say Twitter shares are up about 50% since then, since he bought that stock. So he just skyrocketed Twitter stock.
But if he has majority, and they go to the board meeting and vote, if he's majority shareholder, his say goes, right?
I would think so at that point. And if not, he pulls, they're fucked.
So he's doing one of two things. He's either going to fuck him, or he's going to be the majority. Because every time I've watched him, and he's on Snowden's show all the time about the censorship.
Uh-huh.
So there's no way he's going there to be censored.
Yeah.
Or to censor things.
It's
so he's
weird.
either going there to fuck him, or he's going there, get the stock through the roof and he leaves and it plummets.
Yeah.
Or to be the head of the board and have a major say.
Yeah. Yeah. It's definitely a weird topic. It's like all over the place. It's sporadic. You can't keep up with this stuff, It's just all over the place. And it's a part of this generation. I'm just like, wish I never grew up in this generation. I could tell you that much right now.
Now, if you compare college a year ago to college now, do you see a major difference? Or maybe 2 years ago? When you first got to college and now, how the classes are, how the atmosphere is, do you see a major difference?
No, not really. I mean, listen, you had to take all online classes, but I'd rather take online anyway. I don't have to go to school. But in-person class, it's really about the same now because you don't got to wear a mask. But, coming from a New York perspective, if I stayed in New York, you're forced to get vaccinated. You're forced to wear a mask.
That's right.
Otherwise, you're not going to school.
You have to wear a mask to go to school?
Yeah. Well, they just lifted it. I mean, my little brother, who's 17, is in high school. They have no choice. They had to go to school and put a mask on.
When did they lift that for him?
A month ago.
Jeez.
Not a month ago, but think about it. You're in that school for 7 hours a day, and you cannot take that mask off. You have to sit in like almost like a pod to eat lunch with dividers around you. What does that remind you of? Like if you look at
can reminds me of fucking jail is what it reminds me of.
Exactly. I mean, you have
really.
That's what these kids are experiencing at a young age.
Crazy.
But that's the reality of it. Like, and I, going back to the stomach issue, I used to have this altercation with this one specific teacher who I despise. Because he used to tell me, he used to run the political agenda and then you talk back. But he was always right. You have no say in anything because he's, whatever he is, say he's way left. If you gave a right perspective, no, you're wrong. Okay, well, here's my perspective. This is why I'm telling you you're wrong. And he'll just go back and forth with you. Now, whatever. Now, there was times where, I told you I got to go to the bathroom. He wouldn't let me go to the bathroom. And if I went, he'd chase me down the hall and tell me to go to the principal's office. All right, I used to ask him, for what? For what? You're going to sit here and tell me I can't go to the bathroom?
And he knew you had a problem?
No, he knew. Oh, no, I know. He was terrible. He was terrible. And you know what the funny thing is? I think from day one he didn't like me because, I told you about the reason I took his class was for a criminal justice class, right? It was an elective, and I was like, hey, listen, I like this, So he gave us a book one day, and I'm sitting there interested. I'm not listening to what he's saying. So I'm opening the book, and it says, in little print in the bottom, it says California state law. So he used to give us quizzes. Oh, what's murder 1? What's murder 2? What's felony murder? What's this? What's assault? And I used to tell him, listen, we have no battery. We have no battery in New York. It's, it's an aggravating factor, So it's assault 1, assault 2, assault 3, You got your B misdemeanors, your A misdemeanors, and a felony. So it goes A to E felony. He doesn't know this. He's like, oh, this is the book we're reading. Yeah, but why am I don't live in California, do you? No, you live in New York State, so why would you learn California state law? So I used to put the wrong answers on purpose. You know, they were the right answers to me because I lived in New York State, but I used to put, you know, New York state law instead of California state law. So I used to get pissed off, and I used to tell him, oh, who do you tell me? This is where I said, and I printed out one time. I printed out the law, and I gave it to him on the back of my homeworks. He got pissed off. He was like, "What is
sure
this? What is this?"
That.
Oh yeah.
This cocky kid telling me how to teach, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So he had no experience. He had no law enforcement experience. Nothing. You know, I don't know who the hell he thought he was teaching a class like that.
So if you end up as a cop, are you going to go back to New York?
No, I'm going to stay here. I had yeah, I took the Nassau County Police Nassau County Police Department exam when I was 17 and a half years old. And the list is still coming out. So I'm like almost there to being called. And Nassau County Police Department, if you look, for the last couple of years, has been the best police department in the United States. Number one.
Right now?
Number one. The best police department in the United States. The hardest to get on and the best police department in the United States. Like, when I tell you, like, everything is perfect. Perfect.
And Nassau County's in New York, right?
Yeah. It's
Type that in. What is the best police department in the country? No offense or anything, but I did not believe that for 2 seconds.
Yeah,
not now. And not that the police officers aren't good. It's the fucking guy that's behind it.
Nassau County Police Department.
And your dad's been a cop, what, 30 years you said?
Yeah.
Police score.
I'm sure there's different, different websites that say it, but I forget
it's
which. It's
not like that big a fucking deal.
I forget which website it was on. It was like, yeah, see, it's not on the sheriff's because
it's a good police department.
Yeah,
just because the mayor or governor is an asshole. Yeah, it might be hard to find.
Back home, we it's different here than it is home because you get the sheriff's department, you got the it's police friendly states. Yeah, it's difficult to find.
Yeah, you probably have to have the exact wording.
Lincoln, exactly.
Because none of the police departments want to be shown up.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have the high. Those aren't the highest paid, but they're like, I think top 25, and then the NYPD is the biggest police department in the United States with 40,000 cops. Boca, they got like 250.
I feel bad for every one of those cops in NYPD.
Well, see, I got called. I took the NYPD exam right before I came to Florida in August, or maybe August like 3rd. I got called for my background investigation the next week. Usually it takes a couple of months because you get a list number, and the list number could be up to 4,000 or 5,000. And I got called the next week because they're so desperate for cops.
And you got a father that's got 30 years in his pocket.
Yeah, but that has nothing
to do it. It doesn't work like that.
In New York State, you go through it's called civil service. So that civil servants will hire you as a cop. And then once you go through their process, then you get passed off to the police department where they hire a background investigator. And the background investigator will do your investigation. You go for a PT. You go for your medical examination, your ME. And then that's when you start the process of, okay, this is the requirements of the academy. You got to go into the academy. It's different than here because here you got to do, it's called a CJ bat, I think it's called. So you take that, then you go for your physical. And then you go for a whole bunch of different things like the sponsorships for the academy and stuff. Not too sure on how it works completely yet here in Florida, but I'm starting to learn it more and more.
I know the sheriffs here make damn good money here. The sheriffs.
Boca Raton Police Department just surpassed Fort Lauderdale not too long ago as the highest paid police department in all of Florida.
Yeah, if you're going to be a cop, here's the place to be. I think.
Well, that's right. I mean, the Boca Raton Police Department, they start out at $75,000. You get a take-home car, paid uniforms. Paid everything on your gun belt's paid for. That stuff's expensive. When it comes down to it, if you got to pay for that stuff out of pocket, it's a lot of, even the uniforms. I mean, you got your dress blues, your work uniforms, all that stuff that adds up and up and up and up. So,
I think Pennsylvania starts at $35,000.
Georgia's the lowest paid police department.
30?
Georgia's has it's like the lowest paid police departments in all the United States.
No wonder they pull everybody over. They're fucking pissed off. I would be too. I don't blame them.
I know. And it sucks. I mean, that shouldn't be.
No. I think 75 is a good number to start. You're risking your fucking life every day. And if you can handle it, up them a minimum 100 a year.
Yeah, well, in New York, I mean, there's guys who will make a lot of money. Like, a lot of money. But you start out low. I mean, when you go in the academy, you're making like 35 starting, but then you get your pay steps. So you can reach top pay in, I think it's 5 or 7 years.
So they're hoping you get clipped before you get to the 5-year mark, so they're not going to pay you.
Yeah, right. But
Probably
no, then
are.
you get promoted. You take promotional exams. You go to the detective side of things. You can become a detective, and there's all different different types of squads and units that the police department has.
Yeah,
that,
like a policeman just isn't somebody that pulls over somebody and gives them a ticket.
No.
It branches out.
Yeah, of course. There's a lot of different things, and I'll tell you what I actually did. When I was in college back home, most colleges have a police academy connected to them. So mine had a police academy next to it, Suffolk County Police Department. And my professor, he had invited me and a couple of my fellow students, to the active shooter simulation. It's called DPF simulation, Deadly Physical Force Simulating. So it's like a real simulation. You go in this room, and it's got like a little machine that shoots balls at you. And you got like a police car door, like a mailbox or something, like a brick wall, and they give you a real firearm. But it shoots it's got the real kick to a firearm. And it shoots like simulated lasers to see if you're hitting. So it's, real magazine, you got to change the magazine, you got to put a belt on, a vest, whatever. So he's like, all right, you guys could do this and whatever. So I did it. And the first one was like a simulation of housing projects, and this guy's sitting there blowing an AK-47 down. You got to shoot back up at him. Now, they didn't put the real simulation on with the balls, because the balls are supposed to hit you if you get shot with a gun, So they didn't do that because we're college students. Whatever. I thought it would be fun. So
you might get a boo-boo.
Yeah, you might get a boo-boo. Listen,
you're going to be a policeman, but God forbid you get a boo-boo.
I heard those things hurt. I heard they hurt like a...
Well, if you're going to be a cop, you need to learn to take a couple shots,
So, and then the next situation I did, the guy, I guess the supervisor that I was working that specific unit or in the room, goes, you want a hard one? I said, yeah, give me the hardest one you got. Sitting there laughing. Because it was fun to me. Stuff like that seeks my interest, get my adrenaline going. So, it's simulation. I think it's like a felony traffic stop for warrant for arrest or something like that. The plate came back to a warrant for arrest. So you're riding with another guy in the car. So you're in the car still, and the guy gets out of the car. It's like a wooded area with this 2-lane road.
Now, do you have like virtual glasses
No,
on
the
right
whole
now?
room looks like real. And you talk into the simulation, and it talks back to you.
So is it like you're in an IMAX theater?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes, but it doesn't look like a video game. It's real life. Like these people are real life simulations, and you're talking.
Fucking weird, bro.
you're supposed to. They teach you to de-escalate the situation, then take physical action if needed. So it was like a guy. He wasn't restraining arrest. Like he wasn't like resisting arrest in any means. So the other officer was like arresting him, putting him in a car. He was bringing him to the car. The guy had his daughter in the car. The daughter decides to get out of the car with a fucking 12 gauge and pointed at the other cop I was with and fucking shoot him. So guess what? I got to shoot this little girl with fucking 5 rounds. I put 5 rounds in her chest. But that's the situations that's like you have to learn, because you never know. Like I say it all the time. Everyone thinks, oh, it's just a traffic stop. No, it's not a traffic stop. You don't know if that guy's sitting there with a gun waiting to fucking shoot you. You don't know what's in that car. You don't know anything. And especially if it's dark, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's dark, daytime. You don't know what's going to happen. So there's no such thing, as I say all the time, there's no such thing as a routine traffic stop.
Now, is your dad supportive of you being a cop? Or is he trying to tell you?
I would say so. I would say so in a way, but I don't think he's. I don't think he's ready for I feel like that'd be cool. For me and him to be a cop together, but it's not gonna happen. He's gonna retire. I feel like that'd be cool, but at the same time, it's like he knows what the streets are. But here in Florida, in Boca especially, it's not anywhere close.
Yeah, you're not dealing with fucking.
You're not dealing with
you're not shit up there.
Yeah, you're not dealing with that. Listen, you got your shitty areas around here, which I'm sure there's gangs and drugs and guns like anywhere else in the world. But it's not.
It's not as brutal.
It's not as brutal.
Yeah.
There's guys who work bad areas.
Now, have you talked to anybody from the NYPD recently that works for the NYPD?
I know a couple of people in the NYPD.
How do they feel about this whole fucking shit this guy has, the way he's running things?
It's terrible.
Defunding them,
That's terrible.
not letting them. How did they snap back? Because now they can't arrest people for this or that or this or that.
You can't really do much about it. There's guys who will. I know guys who refuse the vaccine. One individual specifically refused the vaccine, and they'll suspend you without pay for 30 days. And think about it, at that point, I look at it like this.
Move.
You have a career, right? You have a family to support. You got kids. You got a wife. Whatever you got. At that point, if you plan on staying in New York, get the vaccine, because that's your career. That's your money. You're talking about a job that gives you the benefits or whatever. But if not, if you really want to take that next step, move. Go somewhere else where you're not going to have to do it. Go to
Yeah.
Florida. You know, they're hiring like crazy. But it's sad that it has to come down to that point. It shouldn't have to be at that point.
It should just be if
You
you
know?
want to get it, and if you don't, then every day you go into work, get
Yeah.
tested.
Well,
and,
that's the thing.
and charge the officer $5 every time you
But
go
here's
in,
the problem.
even though they're 99% not effective.
Here's
but,
the
yeah.
problem, and I say this: if you look,
Did you
at
read that?
what?
When the test that first came out,
Yeah.
they were 99% inaccurate.
Yes.
You read that?
Yeah. So here's my thing.
So on 400, when they did the math,
Yeah.
on 400,000 deaths,
Yeah.
4,000 actually,
You had to COVID. Yeah.
but he got his numbers he wanted.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing: is now this is what I look at it in the police department.
Fuck.
You're talking about 40,000 cops, right? Now think about how many retired over the last couple of years. Boatloads of people. They already had their 20 years for their pension.
Get the fuck out.
See ya. Supervisors, cops, whatever. They're running out. So, but now you got, younger people who want to get on a job. Normally, you wouldn't take someone with a 75 on that test because they're not qualified. But now you got people, they're so desperate that they're taking unqualified people. They're taking people who are going to, give that department a bad name. But that's the problem, is these Democrats are pushing this political agenda for, let's defund the police. So the guys like myself and other people, like I said, like myself or other people who have always dreamt of being in law enforcement don't want to do that job because guess what? God forbid you're in that situation where you get into a shooting or something that you have to take physical force and you're getting jammed up. You're one step away from losing your career, which you wanted to do forever. And guess what? You're on a bus to go to prison because you were doing your job.
Career, family, reputation, and now everybody looks at you like you're this fucking killer.
Well, that's the problem. Is like,
and you blame the media mostly for that.
That's the problem. I mean, listen, you get one bad apple that falls from the tree every so often. I mean, that's life. It doesn't matter what you do for a living. You always get that one bad apple. That's life. But unfortunately, you get someone like the guy Derek Chauvin with the whole George Floyd thing. How many people that are my age that don't understand the world in itself, they don't understand politics, that's not every cop. That's not every cop.
Yep.
That's one guy out of God only knows how many interactions that occur every year. But then you get the kids who think, okay, the cops are bad. We're being raised to think that the cops are bad. We're going to shoot at cops. We're going to do this to cops. That's what's going on now, and it's so bad that it's just.
And I say that social media is behind all that.
Social media is brutal.
I've had plenty of run-ins.
Yeah.
And out of all the run-ins, whether it was federal, county, state, 95% of them, 9 to 5. They came, they did their job.
Yeah.
They did what they had to do, but no bullshit.
But
then there's 5% that
Yeah.
they took it way too far.
Yeah.
Way too far, and that job's not meant for them. And when they act like that, if they think that they're going to get anything out of anybody or make any progress, they're not.
Yeah, no.
But if they're trying to get somebody to cooperate, you got a better shot being cool. Because when you throw them big numbers at a pussy, okay, do that. But somebody that knows what the guidelines are, and hopefully anybody that's doing anything wrong looks at the guidelines before they do it.
Yeah.
So then when they come in and barge in and say, you're going to do 20, when you know that the most they could ever give you is 3 years, that's just ridiculous.
What's an old school saying? Respect's a two-way street.
Yeah.
Respect's a two-way street. You give respect, you get respect. You don't give respect, you're not going to get respect. And that's what people don't understand is now, this is where it gets even worse with the social media, like you were saying. People think it's okay to sit there. They'll get pulled over, whether it's, let's say, just hypothetically speaking, they get pulled over on purpose just to send out a TikTok video and go viral on TikTok, right, to ruin someone's day. They sit there and the guy goes, let me have your license. And the guy refuses. I don't have to give you shit. All right, what's your name? I don't have to give you shit. Oh, really? Now it's an altercation. Now it's a problem. For what reason?
So now, what would you do in that situation? When if you pull me over and I say fuck you, I don't have to give you shit. What would you do?
Well, you gotta look at it as what the situation. Well, what did I pull you over for?
For speeding.
I pulled you over for speeding. I mean, listen, I'm not a cop, but I'm saying in the situation that I was, you're probably required to call a supervisor. You're gonna have to call another unit down to wherever you are, because people like that usually just are looking to take a video of you, make a fucking fool out of themselves, try to make a fool out of you, But then afterwards they'll say, okay, but that's the problem is you got to watch what you say, because everyone has a camera now. Everyone's got a camera. So God forbid that guy's got his phone sitting there and he's recording, and you get fucking aggravated and you say the wrong thing. Guess what? He just did what he wanted to do, and that's get you in trouble, because they'll go to internal affairs, and internal affairs will come to your house. They'll do all this bullshit. You got to watch what you say no matter where you are. So I'm sure, I don't know how it works in Florida, but, I could say in New York State, probably you're required to give your license. If you're being detained, you're required to give your license, or else you could be arrested.
Right. But when you pull somebody over, you already know it's not going to go good. And I'm talking shit to you as a cop, right? Wouldn't it be better to say, okay, sir, no problem. Let me go back to the car and check things. Just don't go anywhere. Call for backup. And then you approach the individual with backup and you say, hey, look, we're trying to be respectful. I don't want to ask you to get out of the car. Just give me your license.
Well, that's that's exactly what I would do.
Because a lot of times the cop argues back with the individual in the car, and then it just escalates and escalates.
Yeah, that's the problem is, that's what they're trying to get you to do. And I know that from seeing it previous altercations online or whatever, is they want to aggravate you. They want to get you to break. They want to get you in trouble. So you have to, as that job, at that level, when you take that job, you have to understand that you cannot slip up with the slightest thing, or else you get in trouble. You got to understand to be calm. You got to relax. You got to keep your temper. And so, you can't just break out and say, okay, there's that job calls for, you're asking to see people at the lowest points in their lives, that people don't see,
And they're scared and everything else.
Yeah, well, exactly. And,
But I think if you take that job, you should have the mindset and the training that no matter what dickhead you run into, even though it's, you're a human being, if you're going to be a cop, you need, and Billy Flanagan, who I can only get 2 words in, who is a fucking monster.
He was in the same police department my father is.
But couldn't ask him any question with the 2 that were in here with him. And he's a beast. But like he said, if you de-escalate it and just call backup and none of the back and forth, it doesn't go anywhere.
No, it won't. They won't get what they want. You listen, as a cop, your job is to de-escalate situations that are at their high point, because your adrenaline's rushing as a human being. You get physical. Once you get physical, there's no going back. You're gonna get fucked up.
But I still think that the biggest thing, like he said, was you run into one bad guy, and now that sticks with the policeman for the rest of their career.
Correct.
So if you're that type of emotional person, then being a policeman isn't for you.
No, in
my opinion.
No, you gotta be able to control your temperament as a cop.
And let things go.
Exactly. Yep.
Because the next person might be a nice guy. Hey, officer, I was speeding.
Of course.
Apologize. Maybe give me a break.
No, exactly.
I'm a guy. You're a guy.
You gotta be.
Can I call you mister?
You gotta be able to let someone walk down the street, and they could sit there and violate you. However, you gotta just sit there and be like, okay, what are you doing? That's just ignore them, because if someone walks down the street and I'm a street cop, right? I'm standing there doing my post or whatever, minding my business. Someone comes up to me and goes, "Fuck you."
Okay.
Fuck you. Okay.
Right.
Cool. What am I gonna do? Sit there and argue you for no reason? You're trying to get me to pop. You're trying to get me in trouble.
Just say, okay, thank you.
Okay.
Keep going.
Have a good day.
This is your job.
When they see you ignore what they're trying to push against you, that's what irritates them more than anything, But it's not the same it was God only knows how long ago, where as a cop you could do your job a little bit more. Now you gotta watch. I mean, they want you to, and the best thing in the world is when people go, oh, you should have shot him in the leg. Oh, okay. Here's a gun. When a guy's got a gun pointed at you, a knife running at you, let me see you try to shoot him in the fucking leg. Yeah. Let's see how good that works. You're not taking your gun out to shoot the guy in the fucking leg. I mean, they actually just came out with new tasers that shoot from a further distance. And I'm pretty sure they have more. They have a second round of prongs that shoot out of the taser itself.
Yeah, but I mean, if somebody's shooting a bullet at you, what the fuck is a taser gonna?
No, you're not using the taser. You're not using the taser for a fucking gun. If the gun,
it's like taking a knife to a gun.
Listen, if you have physical fear of your life or the other people around you, you're required to take action. You want to de-escalate the situations. I've watched some videos where I'm like, holy fuck, that guy's lucky he didn't die, because at the end of the day, you got to go home to your family. You got to do what's right. I mean, God forbid, a bullet hits someone else. If that guy's pointing a gun at you. I don't care if it looks real, if it looks it. There's so many kids who will, say, "Oh, the gun looks fake." Okay, you have a replica Glock. It might not be real, but from fucking 20 feet away, if you're pointing the thing at me and it looks real, you're gonna get shot.
Right. And then if you're the officer that shoots the guy, and then they find out that it was a 3D gun, you're going to court, pal.
Yeah, well, you know what? You'll have the defense. You'll be fine. That'll be
You'll be fine.
That'll be a justified shooting.
It depends on who you shoot.
Yeah, that'll be a justified shooting.
Is that what you think?
Because listen.
I could show you about 50 now that.
Believe me. I listen. Yeah. I know, but you know what it is? You take, say it's like a BB gun, right? And now they make BB guns produced by Glock, the producer themselves. So you put that next to a real gun. How are you gonna know it's not real? You can't take the risk. That's what you're taught. That's what you got to execute.
It's a dangerous game, boy. I would go detective or something. Because you like competition, go be a detective.
Yeah, squad's fun. I mean, listen, you know what? I've always wanted to do. I wouldn't do narcotics. I would do like a gang unit or something.
Yeah, or you have to investigate.
Yeah. That stuff's fun. But you got,
like Greg Caden, the guy that did solve Tupac and Biggie. He was a cool fucking dude, man.
Yeah.
But if he's after you, he's gonna get you. But he does. But he's not gonna get you like an asshole. He's gonna get you like, hey, look, you broke the law. You want to work a deal, or we're gonna go the hard way? Okay, you want to go the hard way?
Yeah.
He's not the type that he's asking for 10 years above the guidelines for some bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to go through the district attorney anyway. You know that. Yeah. It's like, as a street cop, you make the arrest, you pass it on to the detectives. Detectives will investigate the situation, then it goes to court.
Well, they kicked him off the fucking case.
DA will...
after he actually solved it, they kicked him off the fucking case because they didn't want it to come out. Yeah. But he had all the proof.
Yeah.
Orlando Anderson, I still say P. Diddy had more of a role, but definitely a role. I mean, he even said he had a role in Biggie, but, So you're following the war pretty big because you sent me shit. Did you see that fucking Russia has supersonic missiles?
Yes.
Do you know what that means?
Yeah, well, here's the thing. Russia,
and there's only 2 countries that have them. We don't have them yet. That we know.
Russia and Iran, right? Iran has?
Russia and China.
China. Yeah.
So before, because I was watching this thing with Baker, the CIA, supposedly former CIA agent. Who knows if he is or not. But before, you would have like an hour. So they would shoot it, and you would have an hour to, hit back. Now, these supersonic fucking missiles, they go, I forget how fast. It's an unbelievable amount of speed, but it can get from Russia to New York in less than 10 minutes.
See, now...
If that. When you break down the kilometer, all that shit.
Like I said.
So you got 10 minutes to get a weapon ready to shoot it back?
It's ridiculous. But here's the thing. I said Biden, he has to tread very lightly, and he has to watch his stupid fucking mouth because... Listen, he can get us blown to shreds. And I say this all the time, right? You go back to when the draft was intact, right? There was kids coming out of high school, even before they were out of high school, that were going to Vietnam, they were going to, Germany, where the fuck they were going. They had to fight. They had no other chance or else they were getting locked up. Okay, that's a requirement. That's what they had to do. They did it. They came back, and that was it, right? You walk down any kind of street today, right? And you take 8 out of 10 people and you say, okay, that kid has to go fight a war. That kid has to go fight a war. The only war he's fighting is the war in his bedroom with the fucking teddy bear. He's not fighting any kind of war because these kids are so soft. They're so coddled with whatever the hell we have going on here. Putin looks at us like a joke. I'm sorry, but it's true.
They all do.
There's not too many people that are gonna step up and say, okay, Russia wants to fuck us up. No, it's not going to happen. This is what we're going to do. Half these kids, they don't care. They don't care what the hell's going on. They think that nothing is ever going to happen. Just wait till something actually happens. Because the Democrats that are running this country are a joke. They're a joke. And that's not just saying because I'm a Republican. That's facts. Trump is a businessman. He went about dealing with Putin in a business aspect, and that was all fine. Why do you think Russia didn't invade Ukraine when Trump was a president?
Well, they knew he wouldn't tolerate it.
No, exactly. Yeah. And look,
Trump did a lot of good, but he also did some shady shit.
And here's something that people don't talk about either, is the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. It's the same kind of thing. just in a different area and whatever. When Trump was a president, Palestine had no chance on Israel because Trump was a big supporter of them. He wanted to back them up. He wanted to fund them. Now look at Biden. What does Biden do for Israel? Nothing. So guess what? Now there's terrorist attacks in Israel all the time because of,
Well, they talked that Russia got Trumping. Well, who's got the $16 million house and the kid with the $6 million in the bank for?
Yep.
What did he do? He moved something for China, right? Hunter. Or what did Hunter do that he got the six? He moved. He made some deals with China
And Ukraine, no, they're investigating his dealings with Ukraine
and China, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean,
See, back home prior to me moving here, I was involved with a little bit of politics. I was on a committee and I went to a bunch of committee meetings. It was fun. Definitely not something I do for a profession. A lot of people say I'm good at it, but it's not something I like. It's just
you
like
bang your head against the wall. Nothing gets done.
Nothing gets done. You have
It's
you have an agenda.
it's a circle jerk.
Yeah, you have an agenda that you push that gets thrown in the garbage 2 days later.
Yeah. Whether it's good or not, it's whoever. The opposite party is going to be against it, no matter if it's good or bad.
Of course, and then you just it's a joke, whatever. But I met some great people while I was doing it. I went to a bunch of rallies back home. that was interesting. We had a couple opposing rallies come through, and it was like we were on the news for some counter protest, but we were all screamed at. We got screamed at by people. Oh, you're racist, this and that. I was all over Twitter. I said, how am I racist? What did I say to you? Why, because I'm holding an American flag, I'm a racist? Tell me how American flags are racist.
Nowadays it is.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so they would, they push the agenda about the BLM, da-da-da. Well, I say it all the time. A Black Lives Matter, a White Lives Matter. Doesn't matter what color you are. Your life matters. It's just the biggest bozo thing I've ever heard in my life.
Well, it's like it always is.
Yeah.
When do you see Al Sharpton? The only time you see Al Sharpton is when something happens with an African American,
of course,
which is good for them. But you don't see him with anybody else,
no,
with a Chinese guy or a white guy or whatever.
Like I say all the time, I'm like, I don't care what color you are, I don't care what race you are. If you give me respect, I give you respect right back, just like as anyone else would. There's bad people, there's bad white people, there's bad black people. It doesn't matter. There's bad people and there's good people. Don't associate me with a guy who's white trash. Who does that's his business. That's not what I do.
They're good and bad in all.
I'm patriotic. That doesn't make me a racist. I'm proud of my country.
You're entitled to your own belief.
Exactly.
And that's it. And you shouldn't hate a Democrat, and a Democrat shouldn't hate you. You have your own beliefs.
Exactly. I don't care. You want to say what you want to say? Be my guest. You can say it on TV. You can say it in front of me. I'll listen. I'm not going to sit there and argue with you, and it's not worth my breath. Number one. Number two, if that's what makes you happy at the end of the day,
good.
If it makes you happy, good.
Whatever you think is best is good, and if you don't like it, just like a YouTube thing, you don't need to comment and fucking bury somebody 20 different times, 20 different ways. Just fucking change the channel.
Exactly, and that's the thing is like you scroll down any social media platform, and you'll see either right or left, political views, whatever. People comments, thousands and thousands of comments. Fuck you. Where is that getting you? I sit there and I just scroll past it. I don't look at it.
I delete half of them because why would I want to have a guest in and then some troll that's fucking around with no life actually has the time to like log into 5 different accounts and type some bullshit.
Yeah. Well, now here's the thing: is like, you get the people who say, how come you unfollow me on Instagram or whatever? Well, because you post this and
social media.
You post this and that's not. I don't. Listen, you can do what you want to do. I just don't want to see it on my page, and that's simple as that. There's no problem. I don't have a problem.
Why do you even reply?
No. I'm just saying hypothetically. Hypothetically speaking, like that's like everyone will make a big deal. I never had a problem. I mean, I've had people who post my picture on Twitter and said I was a racist, but
fuck,
I don't care. It's what am I doing wrong? Like I said, I'm holding an American flag. I'm patriotic. I support my veterans. I support the police department. I support any first responder. And that's how I am. That's me. You're not going to change me. If you want to do, like I said, you want to do you, do you. I'm going to do me.
I'll never. What were we going to say, Rob?
If you want to be a cat, you can be a cat too. Dog.
Yeah. Now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Now you can put a tail on your ass
Whatever
and walk around to school.
Yeah.
I've heard. I heard through was it my brother or maybe one of my little brother's friends that they actually have a couple of those in the school back home. Kids walking around with tails and ears.
Do they meow?
Probably. Yeah, but then you like, you laugh at them. You're in
Bart.
trouble.
Like, are you serious? They're really doing that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No, like they're actually
Like, to
doing
be funny?
No.
it. No, like
They
seriously,
identify as
like
one.
they put them on leashes and shit and think it's funny. Not funny, like I think it's funny, but I'm saying like people take it seriously and think that
They think
they
they're cat.
identify themselves as a fucking cat.
Yeah, they were.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
They were born to be a cat.
Yeah, they were born to be a cat.
Get the fuck out.
Yeah.
Swear to God.
That's what they identify as. You're allowed to do that.
Yeah.
As a cat?
As a
Whatever
cat.
you want. You could be a. What do you want to be?
You gotta be shit.
Yeah, swear to
No, look it up.
Where'd you see this at?
non-binary or
Well,
not?
well,
What I don't.
No, I don't know what the fuck. Look it up. It's called
I don't even know what you would look for.
just look up like cat person or something. Like I swear to God, they
identify as whatever.
Where'd you read it at?
It's all over. I mean,
there's people that get surgery
be in a
to look
fucking
like a
cave.
fucking cat. Like they trim their nose down,
but
they
even
point
then
their
you don't-
ears.
Even then, you don't have to do the surgery. You could just be one if you think you're one.
Yeah.
You could sit there. We could. Like I could just meow.
And you're fucking serious about
No,
this?
dead ass.
I'm not a man. I'm a
Oh
cat.
my God, this
Dead
world's
ass.
coming to an end
Oh
quicker
no,
than I
it's
thought.
fucked. This world's
Can
fucked
we,
up.
Elon? Can we evolve? It's
Yeah,
time,
yeah,
buddy.
yeah.
It's time.
Yeah, you gotta look at this. Can you?
While he's looking for that, because this will lead into this.
Yeah.
You're always telling me like the kids that are your age. When you try to hang out with them, it's just
I can't do it. I can't do it.
What are like the three biggest things that irk you nowadays? I think you found it
Immaturity, number one.
while he's looking.
Immaturity.
Yeah.
No life goals.
What's that?
Like no direction.
No direction.
No direction in life. And I would say the third one is I gotta think of a third one. Just plain old annoying. It's just like kids from my hometown say, I see them out or whatever. What do they do 7 days a week? They go to school, they drink. They go to school, they drink. They go to school, they drink. They smoke, they do drugs. Where is that getting you in life? You're an adult. Listen, in my opinion, disagree, agree, whatever. After high school, you're an adult. You should be acting like an adult in some way. You want to have your fun? Be my guest. Have your fun. I've had my fun. I'm not saying I've never had fun in life. But you got to understand what's right from wrong. And I feel like more and more people have no direction. You ask someone kid my age, what do you want to do for a living? Well, I don't know. What are you studying? General studies. Okay, so you have no direction in life to what you want to do. So you're going to graduate college and do what? I don't know.
That's what I saw with you was that you have direction.
I got my head on a
Like
swivel since I've
if
been
baseball
13.
doesn't work out, you'll go into some type of law enforcement. These
Correct.
guys are just going out and living the college life. But when
Correct.
that ends, then what? Especially now.
No, exactly. I don't know how people are going to afford a car when the cars now are fucking $50,000 for a mediocre car.
Wait till
and you're
gas is
paying
$10 a gallon.
Yeah, you're paying $5 a gallon for gas. How you going to do that, And then, another thing is like, when you go out with people, you go out with them to have a good time, right? These kids love going to these places where you can't even stand because it's crowded with people. I want to know how that's a good time. Why? Because you get absolutely hammered and you're high on every fucking drug under the sun that you're having a good time because you're bopping your head to the music. I'd rather sit down in, say a populated area, whatever. You have a couple of drinks. You don't have to get blasted. Maybe you want to get buzzed that night. Okay, fine. And have a good time with your friends. They want to go to these places, but you can't even hear yourself think, let alone talk to the person next to you.
Well, it's
You
good
know?
that you caught on to that because I didn't catch on to it.
I caught on to it pretty quick. And I just can't do it. And you know what? And that's another thing, actually. I'll put that as my third. Respect.
Yeah.
No one has respect now. And people don't understand the respect aspect when it comes to elders. They don't respect they don't respect people, even my age. You'll get a kid who will run his mouth and he thinks that there's no repercussions. Now, I'm not saying that there will be a repercussion because of the way things are today with technology and the phones. Sometimes you gotta bite your tongue and just say, okay, I'm not going to do that because, it's going to result in something, a consequence. But think about it. 30, 40 years ago, if some kid at a bar or something, say wherever, in public, just decide for no reason, maybe you bumped into him, you spilled a little bit of your drink or whatever, or you had a problem with someone prior for some stupid reason. They just think it's okay. I'm going to run my mouth. I'm going to say whatever I want to say. Or you get the guys on Twitter that run their mouths. 30, 40 years ago,
It was handled a lot.
it was
differently.
you're going to
It
get
was
beat.
handled,
You're going to
yeah.
get a beating,
Yeah. Nowadays. It's
But there's no, that's just a respect. That's just a respect thing. If I don't like you, I'm not going to sit there and say, oh, I'm going to run my mouth. I'm going to run my mouth. Just turn the other way and don't have an interaction.
Well, that's why you're seeing what you're seeing.
But
There's
that's
no
the problem.
fear and there's no respect.
That's the
and when
problem.
you have no fear and no respect, forget it.
But no,
you
here's
have
the
this.
thing.
You have
Yes.
you have a woman who identifies as a cat, says that expressing her feline identity has brought her closer to her partner and has finally enabled her to become her true self. Model Cat 31 has been into kitten role play her entire adult life and introduced what is known as pet play to her partner, whoever that is. 52.
Look. See, it's got the tail on. See, it's got the tail with the ears. That's what's walking around in high school. Think about that.
What
Your kid's
the
going to
fuck?
school with people that dress like this.
Look,
But
an aerospace engineer. What's that?
But I also believe like you can, like, put this on your like license or something. Like,
Oh, come on,
I
really?
swear
Yeah,
to God,
well-
Not probably not in Florida.
It says an aerospace engineer has been nothing but supportive of Cat's unusual identity since meeting at Comic-Con 8 months ago. Cat from Colorado, USA, opened up to Rob about her life as a cat at the very beginning of the relationship, and Rob had. Are we talking about you, Rob?
Not
We
me.
don't
That's not me.
and Rob in the back here
Maybe
has
you're
not
right.
only been supportive of her lifestyle, but found Cat's adopted feline mannerisms cute. So you find it cute, Rob?
Only during Halloween. Only
So now let me ask you a
Maybe at
question.
night with the lights
Oh,
out.
let me ask you
I guess
something.
if you're into some freaky shit.
So
And she's
Someone like
fucking,
this-
and she's
someone
got
like
fucking
this-
cat ears on too. Holy fuck!
someone like this needs to seek mental help.
Yeah,
You know, that's I don't care whether you say you're different, you're not
for
normal.
attention.
That's something wrong.
It's an attention grabber. They do it for
Yeah,
attention.
that's just I don't know what that
she
is.
could try to be like the girl that farts in a jar. Cat, who also works at Cat Girl Manor, a residence in Colorado Springs that holds pet play and BDSM events. Ooh, says that being a cat is more than just dressing up.
Yeah, something wrong.
If you'd
way of
like to
life.
read more, just go to the-sun.com and you'll find it.
It's a way,
Yeah,
it's a
yeah.
way of life, baby.
What
Be a cat.
the fuck?
Be a cat.
Yeah.
Holy
People who have no obligations, I guess they just don't want to do
I have
anything.
a question when it comes to that. So if hypothetically, serious question, if you, let's just say today, Ben, we leave here, you go to Wendy's, wherever, any fast food place, you have,
Okay.
you have to go to the bathroom. You have to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
And you say, you know what, I'm just going to walk in the women's bathroom. So the next thing that's going to happen when you walk in the women's bathroom, ladies are going to either be like, what the fuck, wrong bathroom, get out of here. Like,
Yeah.
no, I'm going to the bathroom.
Of course.
So they're going to tell management, maybe the cops get called. Let's just say you get arrested for being imperfect. You walked into a woman's bathroom.
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
But what if you say you identify as a woman? What?
That's the
And
problem.
that's going to start happening, I think. I really do
Yeah.
believe
No,
that.
I agree.
You're going to see
Right.
men walking into women's bathrooms and women maybe walking into men's bathrooms, and the way everything's going, where you could physically identify as what you want. How do you say I don't identify as a woman then? That I'm right.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I've said, listen, I've
Crazy
said
to
that
say
from
that,
day
but
one.
seriously.
It's the truth. I mean, listen, you could walk in the women's bathroom right now. I identify as a woman. No, you don't.
No,
Who are you to tell me I don't?
Yeah.
You know, so,
It's like right now you could do that?
yeah.
Really?
What the hell's someone going to say?
Right now you can?
Hypothetically.
Hypothetically
I'm saying you're
speaking,
probably going to get arrested, but then I bet you get a good lawyer.
You probably beat it.
I
Yeah.
bet you could.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's an issue.
Now, have you seen? We got to be careful with this one here. In college, have you seen any gender issues getting into sports in your college, where you're going to college?
No.
No, you haven't.
No. But here's the thing.
Yeah, you got to draw the line somewhere with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. you
I'm not, listen, you're going to tell me
can't- Be careful.
if I wanted to go play women's softball and I put a wig on and said, all right, I'm here to play softball.
You're gonna kill them all.
Come on.
Yeah.
Is that even
well,
a question?
I know.
You know?
No, I think anybody with.
But there's plenty of women who agree and say
Oh, yeah.
that that's not right.
As a matter of fact, Caitlyn Jenner
Yeah,
agrees, and Caitlyn
yeah.
Jenner's now
But look-
Spock's spokesperson.
Yeah. Well,
Regardless of what
it
Caitlyn
knows.
did,
It knows.
but I respect that Caitlyn is coming out and saying, "Hey," because this is a fucking
100%.
monster fucking athlete,
100%.
and I respect Caitlyn
Uh-huh.
for coming out and saying, "Hey, look, there's got to be a line
There's a line.
somewhere." Didn't you, Rob? I mean,
Yeah.
and people will listen to somebody like that.
Of course.
You know what I mean?
Of
Because
course.
that's a very high profile person, so
Yeah.
on and so forth. And if they want to do that, fine. Just like
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
Caitlyn is massive celebrity, but
listen.
but you don't see
Don't push
Caitlyn
the
pushing
agenda.
it on anybody.
Don't push the agenda on. So don't. Yeah.
I couldn't believe it, and
Yeah.
I don't know if the mom fucked him up, and he just
Yeah,
had
who-
enough of that crazy shit at that
knows?
house.
Who
Who the fuck
knows?
knows? I'm sure he
Honestly.
was going fucking
But here's the
bukus
thing.
in that place.
If you
but-
want to, you want to do what you want to do. You want to identify whatever you want to identify as.
Be my guest.
Be my guest.
sure.
Don't bring it upon me, and don't push the agenda on others.
I think Caitlyn is the perfect example. You couldn't be more high profile and
Yeah.
does not go around pushing it, does
No,
not
no.
go around nothing. And now that it's gone too far, she's come out
Yeah.
and she said, "Look, this is crazy."
Mine's business.
Yeah, I'm straight. I'm straight with that.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah,
But you,
And especially defending guys like you who are in college,
Yeah, of course.
killing themselves playing baseball.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't, I guess, in this
Vice
situation, it
versa.
wouldn't
but
really
I'm
fuck
saying,
you,
like
but
if you saw a woman, like
killing themselves to get to college, get a full scholarship, and now
And
the
then-
second year in college, they're breaking records,
Yeah.
and this person comes along and just
But now,
makes them look.
how far does it go? Because now, look, you don't get paid. In reality, you don't get paid as a college athlete. You may get scholarship money. But now, how far does it go? There's professional women's sports that get paid. So now you identify as a woman, you're going to get paid to be what? The Hall of Fame women's basketball player because you identify as a woman?
Well, the thing is, right, women, rightfully so, they fought so hard to have, like, their own sport.
Yeah.
Like WNBA,
Yeah,
softball, whatever else. And they got it. And now you implement this. What the fuck is the point now?
There's no point.
You know what I mean?
It's still co-ed. That's what I never.
It's just crazy. It's
It's
crazy. From all your years with the sports and camera guy, how far do you think this goes? Do you think this goes to the point where some of this situation becomes that some of these people get like into the draft to go pro at some point in
Maybe.
our generation?
Down the line.
I don't have the answer. I mean,
Like, what do you think?
My dad used to always say, you get, what is it? Give an inch, you take a foot.
Yeah.
Well, once you give an inch
Yeah.
and the foot's taken, it's hard to go back. It's hard to go back, though. You know what I'm saying? With anything. Once you give the inch and the foot's taken, it's hard to take that foot back.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true.
So,
Because now you started it, and now if you're the guy who comes in and you pull it back and you say, "Hey, look, this isn't fair," from the people that are already in it,
Now you're a
they're gonna
hypocrite.
get a fucking
I just-
shit.
But now you're a hypocrite for it,
I just think it should be level-minded. Every level-minded person can sit here and agree that, again, we're saying, we don't say if you want to be a woman, be a woman.
Yeah.
Be a man, be the lady who wants to be a cat. I'm for it. Whatever.
Yeah. Whatever makes you
do.
happy.
I don't care. But when you're competing in a sport, though you said women fought for, our structures, the way you were born, whether you call it a male or a female, let's just take those terms out of there. Let's just say male and female were just made up words, but we've come accustomed to them all these years that a male has a penis, that we named it, and a female. Fine, whatever. But a male, or whatever you want to call that being formed, has bigger skeletal muscle, stronger, all that type of stuff, right? Are there females that would kick my ass in some, without a doubt, anybody?
Right.
But to put a man that is not excelling against other men of his size or his stature, and then take him and put him there, and now he's winning and winning and winning. We can all sit and agree that that's. I'm not saying I don't support the person of being whatever they want to be.
Of course.
But when it comes to that, I think that's the wrong part.
Yeah, well, that like the swimmer girl that came out, I think she got third place. She was saying that her and the other girl had trained for a gazillion years.
Well, and
then the person that was in the other league was like last.
it went on, and then
And then they went over and just manhandled everybody.
yeah. Well, then that the she whatever, I don't know, whatever it is, went another round or something. I think came like third, and an actual woman beat her.
Like,
Which is pretty
Probably let her.
imagine like years ago if Mike Tyson went into women's boxing, there'd be dead bodies all over the place.
I'll tell you. Hey, look, if you want this to end, let him fight Mike Tyson. Even at 56, let him fight him.
Yeah.
I think they'll start thinking twice about if they want to go into that field.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Pull up some of his pictures to show how he's accelerating. It's in the slides.
Uh-oh.
How sore are you after you pitch?
Sore?
Yeah,
I
like
don't get sore.
you don't get sore.
No,
at all?
not really. No.
All right, let's hit one of these.
I'll tell you exactly what pitches these are. That was I'm pretty sure that. I don't know. Did it change up our fast?
You got sound on there? You got the remote back there?
Hold on, let me see.
Ain't talking about. What is that,
I don't
Ben?
think there is.
See, I think that was a change up
Okay.
because the way that's where I located it. That's a righty, and usually with a change up, you're gonna locate low and inside on a righty.
Like right.
See how it drops?
Yep. Right.
Yeah,
There-
dropped it.
Yeah, it dropped it.
You can't tell. It's the rotation of the ball and the angle. You can't really.
I saw it there. Yeah, I saw
Yeah.
it there. And then what's this one?
This
here,
should be a
Ben?
fastball.
So Ben's at the mound if you're listening. That is definitely a
that's
fastball. Now, how fast was that?
I don't know. Probably
Roughly.
low
That-
90s.
That was moving.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
probably low 90s.
Oof. Yeah, you fucked him up.
We got one more.
Yep.
Yeah, this is a slider. You
This
see
is a
this?
slider?
You'll see this one move.
Oh yeah.
Came all the way back over this.
Wow. Now, how do you hold the ball? How do you hold the ball like
I should have
that?
brought a ball in to.
Yeah, like how do you hold it?
Okay, so a baseball, the seams are set up like a horseshoe.
You can take my little white guy and hold
Well,
the ball.
I can't show you because there's no seams.
Oh, you need the fucking seams.
So basically, if I'm holding a 4-seam fastball, you're holding the ball. You're holding your two fingers. I'm going to show you across the seams like this, right? Now, when you rotate the ball and you're going parallel with the horseshoe, right? You take your two fingers, you put them close together, you bring it to the bottom of the horseshoe, and what you do is when you're throwing it, you almost you rotate your wrist.
Like
So
snap it.
Correct. You snap it to create rotational spin on the ball. So with all that energy that your arm is producing, you're creating a spin. And the spin, it's called RPM rates. The higher your RPM rates, the more the ball is going to move. So you snap it, and then the ball will rotate, and it'll go in towards the left-hander and away towards the right-hander.
Fuck. A
And
lot of
changeup,
a lot of like mathematical
It's
science to it.
the biomechanics of pitching.
Biomechanics. That's what I was trying to.
So with a changeup, you could hold a changeup like in a circle like this. This is how you hold a changeup, and then the changeup grip, you rotate off these two fingers and you pronate. So when you pronate, the ball creates a spin that's going inwards to a right-hander batter. So it's supposed to die in. So yeah.
Wow. And how are you not getting sore throwing 90 miles an hour?
Some people get sore, some don't. I mean, I have days where I will be sore the next day, but from the intense weightlifting and keeping up with my health and everything else, I prevent the soreness in every way possible. Like I said, there's some days that you'll be more sore than others, and there's sometimes you just won't be sore at all. It all depends on the type of day.
And you also train a lot.
I train. I'm in the gym 6 days a week. But you have to have one day a rest day.
Yeah.
And there's so many new ways of training with baseball. So many people tell me I train wrong. I don't care what people say. I got to where I am today, and I will always train this way. I train like a bodybuilder. I want to gain weight. And when you gain muscle mass, you gain velocity on your fastball. You're preventing injury. I don't train like a powerlifter because a powerlifter, they're doing one movement. A bodybuilder is moving heavy movement at a certain amount of reps. So you want to work fast. You want to strengthen your fast twitch muscle fibers to move in fast successive movements. So that's really where I target my training.
And the way you train would be different from everybody else because you have that tall, lanky build. You got to eat a lot to get big.
Well, that's what I explain to a lot of people is,
not everybody has your metabolism and everything else.
And you know what the reality of it is
everyone's different.
Will I ever be able to bench 405 pounds? Probably not, because
nor does it matter.
Look how, just hypothetically speaking, I mean,
yeah.
I see people who are 5'10", 5'11", they could bench more than me, and then guys who are 5'7", 5'8" could bench more than them, because what? Because their arms only have to go a certain amount, the energy coming down and up for me is very difficult compared to someone who's 5'8" and has arms twice as less.
Batista never went more than 2 plates.
Well, and here's the thing.
The Yankees. Never more than 2.
You don't have to. But I'm just saying, hypothetically speaking, the biggest person in baseball, like brolic wise, his name is Arnaldus Chapman.
Yeah, it is.
And
from the Yankees.
Yeah.
Or was.
He
Or still.
he was recorded as the fastest pitch ever in baseball at 105 point something miles an hour. And he's built like a bodybuilder. His shoulders are huge. His chest is huge. His legs are big. Guess why? Because he trains like a bodybuilder, but he does cardio. He boxes. You see him, doing his boxing, whatever. But I just believe in old school ways of training. I'm old school in every aspect of life.
And it worked for you, so why the fuck are you going to listen to somebody else?
Exactly. I mean, I train 6 days a week. Push-pull legs is a split, so I do chest, shoulders, and triceps one day, back and biceps the next day, and then legs, then take a rest day, and then repeat that cycle. So you're hitting every body part twice a week, but you got to fulfill your training with eating. You grow from eating and resting. Everyone, there's not too many people who are lucky to have learned. I have a lot of friends that are pro bodybuilders. My father is into training. He's trained for, God knows, probably 40 years.
Still fuck your ass up.
Yeah, he's big. So I'm definitely very grateful to have been brought up around that. But there's guys who I see train with baseball today, and I'm just like, they say, oh, yeah, let's do these landmine presses. They're swinging weights around. Weights were not invented to be swung around. They were meant to be lifted and put back down.
And swinging them around as a pitcher, aren't you just asking for
injury?
Tommy John surgery to come like tomorrow?
That's my point, is don't reinvent the wheel. Don't fix something that's not broken. That's what people are trying to do, this new school way of training. It's not right. Listen, knock on wood, I've had one arm injury growing up, and it was very minor. You see all these kids have Tommy John. I'll pull my sleeve up right now. There's no scar here. I've never had Tommy John, knock on wood, again. But why? Because I've taken care of my body for 15, 17, 18 years. I've been playing baseball, Yeah. I think that's it. I just don't like I don't like when people reinvent the wheel and they try to fix something that's not broken.
You don't fix something that's not
Correct.
broken.
I read an interesting article. It's talking about so my kids play football, and I've done the workouts before. The high intensity interval training, quick boom 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 workouts, which I like. But a lot of it's just a lot of this jumping and landing and jumping and landing, like the boxes, and then the way they do this stuff, like crazy weird stuff. Like some stuff you're like, holy shit, how'd that guy even do that? You're like amazed by it actually too. This article was saying everybody thinks this new way and the way they're doing, the way they're stretching, the way they're jumping, it's helping the tendon because the tendon needs to whatever. They're actually making it worse, and that's why you're seeing so many now ACL tears.
Yep.
Achilles ruptures. I don't know how many Achilles ruptures over the past 5 years. I'm like, that guy. And he's just doing a regular run, non-contact, boom, Achilles burst. You're like, how the fuck?
Because they're trying to reinvent the wheel and it's not working.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, you going to tell me back in the 80s and 90s these guys were throwing weights around? No. They weren't doing that. They were lifting the way they're supposed to lift. When you lift weights, who's the best at lifting weights? Bodybuilders. So you go based off of what they do. Now you don't want to get big like a bodybuilder. You're probably not going to anyway, but
they had to reinvent the wheel so that they could sell more machines.
My point is you train the components of the body. Now, there's people who, most athletes are like, emphasis on the legs. Don't train your chest. But here's the thing. Do you build a house with a foundation in the first floor and forget the second floor and go to the roof?
Yeah.
No. You build the foundation to the house. You build the basement if there's a basement, the first floor, second floor, and a roof. So just like the body, you have your legs, you got your chest, your rear delts, your shoulders, your traps. Everything has to be trained to keep in order that you want to be built even. Because when you don't build something evenly and you're overworking one thing more than the other, guess what? You're prone to injury.
As a pitcher, because everybody sees the waist up, as a pitcher, how important is leg strength, endurance, and power?
Incredibly.
I bet that gets forgotten about a lot in your lane. Not in college, but getting to the point of college.
Getting to the point of college, that I'll tell you why. It's because it's either an ego thing that you just want to look good in the upper body, or you can't withdraw the intensity of training legs. Because I'll tell you what,
legs suck until you get used to it.
Legs are. Until you enjoy training legs,
it takes a while to enjoy it.
You don't enjoy it.
Never. For me, never.
I didn't for 15 years. I did.
It's my most intense workout. I think it's my most fun workout because guess what? You're in the gym the longest. Number one, number two, you really got to put your body to the test.
I still hate it. It's not fun for me, but I when I started doing them 5 years ago, I could see a difference in lean because it shoots more testosterone throughout your body.
Legs,
You know what I
when you
mean?
train testosterone, your testosterone levels at their highest point.
Yeah.
But then when
And I did see it. I physically saw it.
And when you start to see definition in your legs, it looks good. You know, you look at someone that's got like, you know, a bigger upper body and they got no lower body. It looks like shit. I'd rather have a bigger components of my legs and my core than I do an upper body because you still look more filled out. You know, that's what people don't understand is just think, okay, I'm gonna have stick legs and brolic upper body. It doesn't look right.
Nah, it made me more lean, and it made me more fuller and lean.
Correct.
And it made my abs better because if you're holding the weights like this
Core.
and you're squatting down,
Yep.
pushing out like that.
Yeah.
And what are you doing? Then you're bringing your abs back in.
Yep.
Like I don't do one crunch, but I got a 10-pack.
Yeah.
I can show you now, but fucking destroyed. I don't have to delete 500 more than I already do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but no, that's as athletes, and you know, no matter what sport you play, your core and your legs are a great, you know, mass aspect of your sports and athletes. But you know, baseball has so many different components of movements and hitting and pitching and fielding. That to me, it's like you got to work everything. I don't care what you say. I don't care what I don't care what these trainers say. Who are these trainers to tell me how my body works? You know, don't reinvent the wheel. Don't tell me how to train. I know how to train. I got to this point by myself. You know, so I do what's best for myself, and that if that's training like a bodybuilder, that's to me training like a bodybuilder, and it's also what I enjoy. You know, I don't enjoy doing these stupid workouts where I'm swinging weights because I know it's not making me bigger, it's not making me stronger. It's just making me look like an idiot. You know,
and probably making you more prone to
injury. Correct. And you know, if you train properly and you start filling out and you're seeing results, you'll see results on the field.
There you go. Pull up Ben's Instagram, and then Ben narrate some of your Instagram in case people are just listening.
Okay,
you got some pretty cool shit on there.
Yeah, I got some cool stuff. You know,
And
I get DMs every day that I should model.
_ Ben Sachs.
Yeah. So that first picture that's me at my gym. It's in Boca Raton. It's called Redcon 1. It's
How much do you weigh right there?
about 195, 196.
And how tall are you?
6'4".
6'4".
Yeah, so I'm lean. I'm still trying to gain weight. You know, I could definitely seek my strong points in my body are definitely my shoulders fill me out a little bit, plus my lats. But I definitely want to build more in my body, bigger legs, everything. You know, I just want to get bigger.
Now, does the colitis put a hamper on you gaining weight?
100%.
Okay,
it puts me back 2 steps behind the normal person. On top of this, the being tall aspect of it, it's very hard for a tall person to, you know, fill the body. But you know, I don't use that as an excuse.
No.
Just because that's how I'm born, you gotta work hard. That's all that means.
You're not using an excuse. But you are. You're very tall, long.
Correct.
Which that's hard to build to begin with.
Yeah.
And then you got the colitis. I mean, you got fucking double whammied with another whammy on top of a fucking double whammy.
Yeah,
that
that's
colitis
right.
shit.
Yeah, that's right.
And there's your boy right in the middle.
Yeah, that's Joe.
Yeah, that's one of your boys.
Yes, that's been my best friend since I've been. He's like my brother. He's been like shout out to Joe. You'll be listening soon. But he's been like my brother since we've been like really, really young, and he comes down here all the time. He works for my friend. We do everything together.
Yeah,
he'll be down.
good.
He's coming down here on Friday. We're gonna spend the weekend together.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
Always keep close people too.
Yeah.
And then it's you pitching. That's your boy Joe again.
Yeah, there's Joe. And that's me pitching, and that's the baseball picture. It's all the way to the left. Yeah, that's John Rodriguez. He's my shortstop. In the middle there, that's Shoney. That's my coach. But John's a great baseball player. John, when you're listening,
He have a shot?
John has a great shot. He got drafted out of high school. He's originally from Massachusetts. Moved down here in 11th grade to. He lives with his sister, and he attended Stoneman Douglas High School over in Parkland, and he got drafted by the Tampa Bay Rays.
Oh, he's in the MLB already?
No, he's on the MLB. He turned down the draft, but he got drafted out of high school, and he's 21 now, turned 22, and he's looking to another opportunity to get drafted.
Why did he turn down the draft?
He wants more money. Yeah, he wanted to get more money, go on a high round.
How does that work? I always see that. Like explain that.
You can get drafted once you're 18 years old, but majority of the times, scouts look at you as an undeveloped player. If they seek potential in you, they'll draft you for a good amount of money because they want to take you under their wing to develop you as a Major League Baseball player. So you get drafted out of high school. or you have to wait till your junior year of college to get drafted. So, you're most likely 21 when you're a junior in college. So you usually wait till you're 21 to get drafted. But sometimes you won't get as much money. But if you get better and you develop the way you're supposed to develop, you'll get more money.
But it's not like football where they draft you and you go. Like, you can say...
You could defer it and then say, okay, I want to take the risk, go to college, get my education.
And then is it a redraft or are you still owned by that team? No, because you never signed anything.
No, you never sign anything. You defer it.
Yeah.
You defer it. You could get drafted twice in one draft because you could defer one and get drafted by another.
But you're taking a big risk though, too, right?
You're taking a huge risk. But
now let's not him because that's your boy.
Yeah.
On average, what's somebody offered when they're drafted like he is?
Well,
not what they offered him.
Well, see,
just an average.
there's 40. Originally, there was 40 rounds on Major League Baseball draft. That's how it's always been.
I know. I used to watch it and want to fucking blow my brains out.
So there's 40 rounds, but now they cut it down to 20 because of COVID. So that makes it that more difficult. And they made some draft league, and then they have the draft showcase where they, it's just that much, it's all a bunch of BS.
Yeah, more shit to bet on.
Money.
Yeah, so now it's 20 rounds. So say, you get drafted for $100,000 in the last pick, last round. Right?
Is that what like somebody in his position would be offered? Not what he got offered, just somebody in his position.
No,
average would get offered.
No, you could go up to like a couple. You could probably get offered like the top the draft prospects in the country get over $1 million. It ranges from $1 million to like 100,000, 150,000.
No,
if not even lower, maybe. I don't know.
But I mean, like, not him. Somebody else that was as good as him at the level he's at. Just on average, what would they offer?
$700,000.
$700,000. I want to turn that shit down. Too much risk of fucking injury.
$700,000.
But that's my opinion.
Yeah.
But I respect whatever.
700. I'd say $500,000 to $700,000.
Yeah, I'm not turning that down.
Yeah.
I'm taking that. If it doesn't work out, I'm reinvesting in the business.
Correct.
But if you're a late round pick, you might be like, eh.
Yeah, you're going for $150,000, $100,000.
So
you might.
Then you might
turn it
defer
down.
it and work and go to college and see what you can do there. And then.
What would you do if they offered you $300,000? Would you take it?
Take it.
Take it.
Take
and if it fucks up,
See how I do.
Reinvest it.
See how I do, and if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. I take the money and run.
I would take the $150,000.
So yeah,
I would.
yeah.
Might as well.
It's $150,000.
It's not like you can't go back to school. You can't go back to baseball if something goes wrong.
Listen, $150,000 paying for school. You know?
It's paying for school.
if you don't buy a Ferrari before.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, $150,000 you're not buying a Ferrari, but
yeah, but I mean,
$500,000 you might.
But if you have a brain and you get $150K,
You'll
right,
invest it
and you put 50 aside or 75 aside, if this doesn't work, now you got $75K to invest in something or
And
whatever
guess what?
it may be.
And guess what? It also opens a bunch of doors to a bunch of different things.
Hell yeah. Imagine then
Your
networking
title,
you're going to get.
Your title is a professional baseball player.
Yeah.
What do you think about college athletes being paid right now? That's always the one.
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
They're not being paid. I mean,
Yeah.
paid in a way by sponsorships. But here's the thing. Someone like me, I can get a lowball sponsorship. You get guys that go to Arizona State, Florida State, University of Florida. Those guys are getting paid big money because look who they're on the team with. They're Florida State.
While they're in college, they're getting sponsorships. They're allowed to?
Well, it's a sponsorship that pays you.
I thought they weren't allowed to do that.
I had an offer with one through this app called DateFit. It's like a dating app for like fit people, like gym dates. So they DM me on Instagram and asked me to do it.
You're gonna be hitting all fucking girls with bigger than you with biceps. They're gonna be squatting with you, teaching you how to fucking.
Yeah,
squat.
right. It's funny.
A guy from Alabama has got $2 million worth already of scholarship. Well,
yeah, like the sponsorships.
That used to be illegal though, right?
Yes,
correct, but they were doing it under the table.
They do it in high school too.
Oh,
now.
I see. They're doing it.
They were doing. They were doing it under the table.
They do it in high school now too,
brought
though.
it out to the. Correct.
New York State passed a law. I don't know about any other states, but I know New York State
Can't wait to hear this one.
passed a law
What'd they pass?
that high school football players can be paid.
so they pay the football players, but not the fucking cops.
Yeah,
That state is
High school.
fucking mess.
high school football players.
So you're paying high school football players, but not the cops that protect the fucking state.
Yeah,
Great place to live.
the people
great
who
play,
the
great
people who ensure
run
your
it.
safety to
Yeah.
be at the high school football field.
You think Biden's bad? That place is bad.
That
Yeah.
cop's going. God damn, that kid makes more money than I do.
Yeah, fuck this.
Yeah.
I'm not doing shit. They want to blow something up. They want to steal. Fuck it. I'm having.
Yeah.
I'm going to dinner.
Yeah, so that, like I said, that's John. He's a great kid. I love,
Cool.
really like John.
Cool. I think he's got one or two. Go down. The one with the hat. Or there, we'll let him get some pussy. Go ahead. Show his pussy picture. All right, slide it, Rob, so he gets. Maybe he'll get 2. You got
Oh wait,
one? He's got one.
that's the best one.
All right.
That's the hidden one. That's my favorite shirt.
Go back to.
I love that shirt.
Go back to the one to get him laid. All right. If you're listening, tune in to the end of this, and you get to see Ben. And I don't know, maybe you can find him somewhere and
You find me on Instagram. Slide in the DMs.
He's not married yet. No
South
kids.
Florida.
No.
Single man.
I'll tell you something funny. You want to hear something funny? So
Yeah.
we're after the baseball game 2 weeks ago. We were playing at home in Palm Beach, and we're wrapping up. We're putting the tops on the field, and we're doing something. We're raking them out. These group of girls from the college, they came on the field, and they come up to me and they go, "Oh, my friend thinks you're cute. You think you could give her Instagram?" I said, "Oh," I was joking. I was like, "Sorry, I'm married though." She looked at me. She's like, I had 20 heads. I say that all the time. I just think it's fucking hilarious. Because they're like, you're like, how old are you? I'm like, 21. They're like, you're married? I'm like, yeah, I'm married. Yeah. They look at me like I got 20 heads. It's just a nice, polite way of saying, please, leave me alone.
Sometimes that backfires, though.
Yeah.
It's all right.
And they like it. Because they're like, oh, wow, he's responsible.
Oh, yeah, no, I know. I know. I was like,
challenge.
Yeah.
but I was like,
they want what they can't have.
I was like, this girl really had the balls to just walk out on a college baseball field.
Dude, take it, put it in your pocket, and be like, I'm the fucking shit, and apply it to baseball, and throw a harder pitch.
Yeah.
Then you'll get one that you don't have to lie to.
I mean, think about
better pitches, and then you don't have to lie to them.
You're at a college.
You can say, sure, be at my house at 6.
You're at a college football game, right? Or say a college football game. The cheerleaders, you see one of them that you think is pretty. Would you go out on a football field in front of a bunch of people and go, "Oh, I think you're pretty"?
Are you late to the party? Are you late? Every woman is fucking nuts. They're all nuts.
I say this all the time.
So when you have a girlfriend one day, she's gonna be fucking nuts. They're all nuts. Get used to it. You're gonna have a girlfriend.
No. Every single one of them is nuts. There's no not nuts women.
So
they're all nuts.
So would I go out on a field? Hell no.
Besides my mother and my grandmother, I love them.
Yeah, but they're nuts too.
They're nuts.
My mom's
At
dead.
times.
She's a fucking nutcase. My grandma dead. A real nutcase.
Listen, I've had my mother throw remotes at me. I've had my mother throw stuff at me, but I love her to death, and she's the best mother in the world.
Me too. I love my mom, miss her to death, but I got everything in that house thrown at me. And then when my grandma was around, everything from her that she could get her 4'6" hands on.
And then guess what? They're all the know-it-alls. They know everything.
Of course,
because they're the moms. They listen.
Can't fucking argue with them.
No, you can't argue with them. You can't argue. It's no.
The grudges for 10 years. There's a statutory limit, and they fill out the whole fucking 10 years on a grudge.
My mom's smart though. She is smart. I give her that.
But man, thank you for coming in and
course.
opening up about the colitis and
Of
stuff.
course.
Because somebody might hear that has that just like you.
Yeah.
And just fight through it.
And
That's the advice.
I'll
right?
definitely say, if anyone's watching this video and ever needs advice, you saw my Instagram, you could definitely reach out to me, and I'll definitely be willing to help anyone who's having an issue with their stomach or any kind of issue that is an athlete, whatever issue it may be. You feel free to reach out to me. I'll definitely get back to you.
Yeah, because you might save somebody from going through all the bullshit that you had to and just.
And I would love to.
Point.
Like I said, I love helping people. So if you feel you need to reach out, my door's always open.
Good head on your shoulders, man. Thank you
I
for your time,
appreciate
and
that.
thank you for all the help that you give me off this camera.
Yeah, of course. I appreciate
You're my
being
boy,
here.
man.
I appreciate always being here as always.
All right, man.
Thank
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Big.